denied a grand final in 1964 and 66 by 1 point. Looked like going under again as this mark is timely taken by Gallagher. There's Byron, and it's the Blue Premiership.
Oh, what do you know? And look at them, bobbing Barassi. And my word, what a proud man Barassi must be. And there's the board with Carlton eventually prevailing.
Hello, welcome back to the MCG ahead of what always shapes as a great clash between two of the game's biggest rivals, Carlton and Collingwood. I'll be joining you on the boundary line as I do every Saturday night to bring you up to date with what's happening at ground level, and joining me momentarily before he dashes off to the warmth and the comfort of the commentary box is a great Wayne Schross in what will be a different role for you tonight.
Yeah, definitely, Tiffany. Good evening to you and good evening to our viewers. I'll be taking a bit more of an analytical look what happens in play, what happens around the play, but more importantly, what happens behind play to take the viewers and give them an insight as to what might happen during the course of the match that they otherwise wouldn't get the opportunity to see. So, terrific initiative, and we're certainly looking forward to that.
Absolutely, Nell. Great conditions tonight. The ground, fantastic condition. Clear skies at the moment, and it's not too cold. Great game for footy.
Look at these. Forget the ladder positions of these two mighty, once mighty clubs. They're proud, they're traditional, and they'll certainly play a game accordingly. They'll find them something to lift tonight.
Just very quickly, Troy Longmuir out with a hamstring. Did it during training. Now it's up to the boys. Clinton in the commentary box.
Thank you very much, Tiff. Really looking forward to this match here. And the crowd, well, slowly building up. Perhaps it'll be down on the normal Carlton-Collingwood battles, but it's up at about the 40,000 mark as Nathan Buckley has the final words to his troops. To the right of screen, the Magpies having won the coin toss to the City in goal in this opening term. Carlton currently on the bottom, 3 wins and a draw, can get off the bottom with victory tonight. Magpies 5 and 14. Confirmation there of the weather. They've lost their last 5 matches, including last week a heartbreaker to the Kangaroos after being comfortably in front deep into the final term. Gentlemen, some selections tonight.
Well, it's a tough one, Clinton. I've tipped Collingwood, but it's very much a 50-50 bet, this one. I'm just intrigued as to the matchups because with Travis Cloke going to the bench, you just suspect that one of their defenders may end up going forward.
To use a phrase from Big Kev, I'm very excited about tonight. This is my first Carlton-Collingwood clash.
Big Duck's excited.
And both sides are in good form. Let's be honest, Collingwood pretty good last week, and the Blues in good form the last fortnight.
And to have the Big Duck excited, Jared, on the hardest working day of his life.
It's amazing.
It's been everywhere.
Yeah, it's remarkably still awake. Maddie, who are you selected?
I lean towards the Blues, Clinton. I just think the way they've played over the last few weeks, they've found some hunger and they've found an avenue to goal. Nathan Buckley deep in the goal square for Collingwood, being picked up by Thornton, and Harry O'Brien going to Fisher.
And Maxwell also in the forward line for the Magpies. Lockyer as well, and Paul Mercuria with his arch rival Scott Camporelli. Saturday Night Football live and commercial free on Fox Footy, and it's French and Fanning in the middle, and this is Davies, one of the young Magpies who'll be eager to impress tonight, but it's Nick Stevens emerging. Swan with the pressure tackle. Davies going in hard early. Hailing the cab, will have a bounce. Our umpires are wired for sound tonight. Matthew James, Matthew Nichols and Ray Chamberlain.
Well, we hear plenty of former players say that the kicking skills haven't improved, but I can tell you what, the tackling and defensive skills have gone through the roof, and the first minute hasn't let us down.
As you'd expect, and as we said at the start, pretty hot early. Burns. Swan. That's an untidy handball, stolen by Eddie Betts. He loves to kick these, and he has! He can get them from anywhere, Eddie Betts. Give him half an inch and he'll take a metre.
And they're very excited about Eddie Betts down at Carlton. They think this kid's got a huge future. Is the cousin of Byron Pickett. Let's hope he doesn't put out any soft shirt fronts today, or he might get rubbed out for 25 weeks. But interestingly enough, Brendan Favola has come straight out to centre-half forward, trying to take Prestigiacomo out of his comfort zone.
17th goal of the season for Eddie Betts. He's kicked three times this year. What a start for him. What a start for the Blues.
In taking Presti out of his comfort zone, is he taking himself out of his comfort area?
And why wouldn't?
Well, I think he can play at centre-half forward, Jared, but it'll be interesting.
There is Prestigiacomo and Favola with umpire Chamberlain. Heritage round, the umpires in the old-style uniform. French and Fanning in the middle, and a good second effort from the Blues big man. High kick, O'Brien unable to hang on. Simpson, here's the 200 gamer Burns for Holland, for Davies. Now Collingwood can look to run. Holland about to be under enormous pressure. Leon Davis with a clever pickup. Long ball, Buckley at full forward tonight. And his first touch is a solid mark, and now a shot at goal.
Well, it's a beautiful kick to space, but Nathan Buckley read the flight of the ball much earlier than Thornton then, didn't he?
Yes, he did, and he also, I think, knew that he had the fat side covered. Nathan Buckley is an interesting one, Wayne. Look, I think he'll play a lot of footy up here, as most people do, next year. They've got a lot of good players coming back, and their forward line may just end up being one of the most potent in the game. But Buckley, he could almost win a Coleman medal.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope when the players do come back next year that they don't move him out of the forward position, because, like you said, he's very dangerous.
This for the 250th goal of his career.
Probably needs to kick them a little bit straighter than that one. With a disappointing start for Nathan, because it was a good setup. But no doubt there'll be more.
First score for the Magpies as Camporelli prepares to bring back in for Carlton. Spots a player standing all his own on the line. Going back and doing well, though, was Swan. He's going to make it another chance. Buckley gave it quickly to Holland. Bends it off the outside of the boot, but it spills towards the boundary. No score there.
One interesting matchup is Paul Licuria playing on the half-forward line. He played there a couple of weeks ago and became a major goal kicker against Fremantle. He's lined up there specifically, I think, to take Camporelli away from being a tagger, but Camporelli has to be careful because Licuria does like kicking goals.
Kick 4 that day, that was a career high, and he's in the action just underneath French, but there is a whistle, and it is a Magpie kick at goal. David Fanning will have a shot from virtually directly in front.
He put his arm down.
And there's been more free kicks turned into goals this weekend than probably in 100 years, and we've checked that because of the Heritage round. But it's certainly been
That's a good call.
Turnaround, yeah. But the point is, Clinton, they're paying them this week.
And I think Fanning had his jumper. Barnaby French had his arm, which was holding his jumper. I don't think that was too much of a free kick. That's one area where I think Barnaby French can get a real advantage over young Fanning. Hasn't got off to a good start.
No, not the start he was looking for. So Fanning to put Collingwood in front. For his 4th goal of the season, he's been pretty good in front of goal, and this is no exception. The Magpies hit the front. A good start for young David Fanning, one of the 3 rookies to come off their rookie list onto the senior list this year for Collingwood.
Well, we always thought that this was going to be a close game, and very difficult to tip in my view, but both sides look relatively evenly matched. And we know that the positions are about 10 positions away from where most fans would like them to be, but right now there's 4 points at stake, there's bragging rights, and it's going to be a tough tussle.
We spoke about Woden before the start of the game tagging. He's actually tagging Matty Lappin. So Matty Lappin may have the advantage in the air, but he's had some big jobs of late, Woden, especially guys strong over his head.
What about Teague on Lockyer?
Mightn't have the pace.
Some holding. Carlton free kick. And they elect to go quickly. Stevens for Camporelli. Goes deep. Fisher had it spoiled. French, good pickup. Koudafidi's under some pressure. Now Camporelli trying to find an opening. Just pulls on the kick. Well-weighted ball for Barnaby French. And now he can erase his opposing number in Fanning's goal to put the Blues back in front.
Gee, that was a smart kick. You can't teach that in football. Scott Camporelli looked up. He was going to go long, as you see here. First thing is to go long. He sees Barnaby French with both hands up, 40 metres out directly in front, and able to just drop it in short to his advantage. Terrific kick.
Just 3 goals this year for the former power ruckman to the punt road end goal. You see, it's as good as directly in front.
Thank you.
And the kick is good.
1 goal apiece.
And Carlton have been a high-scoring team in the last month of football. It began here against Fremantle, 17 goals, 15 in defeat. 15-13 the following week to Hawthorn. 22 goals, 9 in the win over Richmond, as we have a look again at the build-up. And then 16-13 last week, losing to Port Adelaide. So 100-plus points for their last month of football. Collingwood just twice in the last 2 months have they got to 3 figures.
Yeah, Big Barnaby, 3 possessions, 1 goal. Fanning, 1 possession, 1 goal. 1 goal apiece.
It's all about ruckman tonight.
It is at the moment.
But French, very good in round 3 against Collingwood. Possibly one of his better games for Carlton since moving across. 5-point margin, 3 goals in the first 6 minutes of play. Free-flowing start. Secondary bounce.
Easy, boys, now. Hey, Chuck. Watch behind me, watch behind me.
Walker on the bench, coming into the side for Troy Longmuir, as we mentioned, with Chambers, Bryan and Wiggins for his second game back after a stint in the VFL. O'Brien got it from Burns, spreading wide Morrison. Now 80 metres from goal, short pass. Buckley the intended target, chipping in Lacuria, just spilling off the chest. The quality player, Paul Lacuria, 9 times out of 10 would just swallow that.
Yeah, that's just nerves, a little bit hard on the hands, just a bit tense.
Run and jump.
And everybody's susceptible to that in the opening minutes of a match.
Boundary throw in just inside the forward 50. Fanning was at the back. Here's Kutafidis at the clearance. Bentic, Lockyer right with him. McGrath came through. Bentic did well to stay in the contest. Stevens, Messi, Burns, the opposite. Clean and gave it to O'Brien inside 50. Maxwell was the target. Simpson, just a quick kick out, and he gets a bit of luck because it's straight onto the chest of Scotland. Camporelli breaks for Carlton now. Stevens trying to open up Camporelli. Good hard running off the half-back line. 55 metres out, no one in the goal square. Just needs a straight bounce, and he gets it. Presti thought it was going to bounce up. It bounced forward. Third goal to Carlton, and Camporelli started well, running hard from half-back.
Certainly has, and see Brendan Favola there running back into the open space, Jared. We've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. Hardest kick to defend. And as we can see, Dennis Pagan opting to have most of his forwards up the ground, running back into that space, and that's why this ball was allowed to run on. But Scott Camporelli, terrific game, off half-back, set up the last goal and kicked that one himself.
Well, I reckon Presti will have a look back on that and say, why didn't I lunge? Why did I try and predict what an oval ball is going to do when it bounces?
Lockyer and Teague getting acquainted. Another high-scoring night coming up for the Blues.
Great start by Camporelli, though. When you've got a bloke like Lacuria on you, could have marked and kicked a goal at the other end of the ground a minute ago. You know every possession is going to be well earned.
McGrath caught by Holland. Good tackle. Here's Teague. Lockyer's got him holding the ball.
Took him on! Advantage!
Might be advantage, it is. Collingwood with numbers? No, umpire pulling it back.
Jeez, I hate the once the advantage is given and the bloke's got the ball in his hands, if he mucks it up then, well then you're getting 2 licks of the ice cream.
I disagree, Jared. I think that good decision. Allowed the advantage when it wasn't an advantage. Bring it back very quickly.
Lockyer going well. Where is he going? He could not have targeted Whitnell any better had he tried. Thornton now going to the wing. Target Fisher in front of O'Brien. Kutafidis the crumbs, the handball to Teague. Fluent movement to centre half forward for Bentic. Carlton looking good. Bentic going deep, and at full stretch. Has he got it late? Yes.
Well, you talk about teaching things in footy. That is just the best kick so far tonight. Outside of Camporelli's little short pulled kick. Have a look at this one if we get a chance from behind. He sees it, he pulls it across his body. He could see Jared Waite just shimmy, to use your term, Clinton, and get to the other side of James Clement, and it gave the backman absolutely no chance. A great kick from a young kid.
Bentic's been good, hasn't he, over the last couple of weeks?
Had 20 against Port last week. Waite kicked 4 goals. He's kicked 11 in the last month. He should continue his fine form, and does. 4 goals in 10 minutes to start for the bottom of the ladder Blues, and they lead by 17 points.
Ringing a couple of weeks ago against Richmond, where they kicked 7 straight in the first quarter, and it hasn't been one of their strengths this year, be fair to say, Carlton, but the last couple of weeks got off to very good starts.
He kicked 6-3 last week against Port Adelaide, so it's something that the hunger is there at the moment to try and get out of the blocks. And they've given Collingwood something to think about here. 17 points.
Wayne, you're involved with the forward structure at Carlton. What was the rationale behind moving Favola away and making Waite the figurehead?
I think, look, I wasn't down there this week. I think what it would be to take Prestigiacomo out of his comfort zone and let guys like Waite have a bit more space down there. They're the guys on fire at the moment. Why not use them?
You heard the decision there against Fanning. Seemed to be out of his comfort zone going up that early, and French stayed there. Inside 50. Fisher was the target. Off a step Teague. Ball forward. And we'll have another boundary throw in.
Wayne, tell me, if a bloke takes possession with advantage and then he kicks a point, should he get another kick and bring it back?
Well, if it was an advantage and he wasn't under pressure, then the advantage rule applies. The ball goes on, it's counted as a point. But if he's then under pressure and misses, it comes back.
Not handball.
French couldn't take it. That's into the back for Scotty Burns.
Second bit. Barney, just a second bit fell on his back. Yep, let him go. Play on.
Game number 200. He's made his debut against Carlton. Swan. Measured kick, finds Lacuria. He in turn is looking for Lockyer, spreading to the wing. They've gone wide again. Now Buckley's got space to run into.
Lockyer looks a problem for David Teague.
Called to play on, going back.
Just watching Nathan Buckley here, he made a lead of about 150 metres, immediately runs back to the goal square.
Shaw to Wakeland, and they've gone all the way back to their defensive 50 when Buckley was into some space. It can turn quickly, you can hear the call. Wakeland has to play on. And Lockyer, as Jared mentioned, away from Teague once again. Too much pace there.
They're almost using him as a centre-half forward. He is just running sideways and exposing Teague.
Davis on a long lead, but McGrath did well. Came back, ran on the diagonal, got in his way and took the mark.
From half-back, loose man is on short. This is Teague. Reaching the northern wing.
Oh,
and he copped one from Maxwell. It's downfield. Favola's got the footy. Goal square unguarded here for Fev. He's electing to send it wide. On the lead is Fisher. Bentic in support. O'Brien the tackle. Bentic twists away, gives to Simpson. Under pressure, shot at goal. Number 5 for Carlton. Oh, what an electrifying start this is. And Cade Simpson, having a pretty good month of footy, sends the Blues to a 23-point lead.
You're right, and it was Brendan Favola that David Teague here. We see a free kick down the ground. Brendan Favola actually took the mark anyway, but it was a smart kick by Favola, waited for Fisher. Fisher didn't quite get to the mark, but you summed it up, Clinton. Cade Simpson is in sensational form for the Blues, one of their better players for sure over the last month.
Looks like a new look as well. He's got a haircut, got the white boots, still kicking goals. And I reckon Byron Pickett, if he was watching at home on Fox Footy, he'd be sick having a look at that, wouldn't he?
I don't want to talk about it anymore. I've given it a flogging on Saturday Central today. Worst decision I've ever seen in football, that.
Still got 3 quarters to bring it up again, Wayne. But what a start this for the Blues. 5 goals already, and as you can see by the clock, we're not even halfway through the first term. Burns is in a spot of bother. The Magpies pushing forward, but only as far as Lance Whitnell again. Spreading for him is Carazzo. Stevens will get on the end of it if he can. Carazzo just not as clean as he should have been. A little bit of miscommunication just there. Let's hear from Wayne Schwass.
Well, Wayne Carey just brought up a few moments ago about Dennis Pagan liking to implore Pagan's paddock. For those that aren't too sure, the goal that resulted from Jared Waite's boot came courtesy of Bentic.
Davis pumps it forward for Collingwood. This is Maxwell again, lapping underneath. Maxwell working very hard.
Mine.
Ball up. Half forward flank for the Magpies.
Mate. Thank you. Won't get up real high, guys. Won't get up. Don't get too far away.
It's good umpiring. That's terrific instruction from the umpire.
French. Scotland reading it best. Here's Simpson again. Pickpocket was Scotland. He got it back. O'Brien goes back for Collingwood, but taken cleanly by Favola. Here's Simpson on the burst. The 18-year-old just kicked a goal. Inside, he finds Fisher. He needs a clean take. He's not going to get it. Wakeland. Arms free, one at O'Brien. 3 Carlton players to beat. Is that on the full?
It is.
It's a shot for goal for Carlton. It's Morrell to the top of the square. Wakeland did well. Lockyer to clean up for the Magpies.
They'll flood the northern side. Well-weighted ball. Egan working hard, unable to get there. Opens the door for McGrath.
Yeah, it's a bad miss by Egan. He had that footy and he just mistimed it.
Now Teague. Attacking side northern wing, halfway through the opening term. The kick was precise, and the former Magpie. Scotland going deep. Collingwood with numbers back. Wakeland takes the mark.
Shane Wakeland, 200 games tonight. Is there been any better over the last 4 or 5 years of cutting off leads like that?
No, he's been a terrific player for Collingwood. Was on the open market. Could have been dead and buried as a player, but he's fired.
Davis to Holland, to Buckley, 1 out. Never in doubt. The slip from Thornton helped.
Yep, it did, but they desperately need a goal from the skipper. He missed a valuable one or an important one last week. He missed the first one, so he won't be all that confident going back. But you'd be staggered if he misses 3 in a row.
A little lick of the lips and wipe of the hands as the ball was coming towards him.
He had plenty of time, didn't he?
He did. Did you used to do that at all?
No, he obviously sensed that Thornton had slipped over.
Yep.
He had time, and good players do sense things like that. Other players still think the pressure's on them, and they probably drop that ball.
Another chance for career goal number 250, and this time he doesn't miss. Buckley's first, Collingwood's second, and the margin is 17 points.
Well, it looks a pretty simplistic game plan to me for Collingwood, and why wouldn't it be? Clear the forward line out for Collingwood, isolate Buckley against Thornton, and they'll back him in. I mean, he may have to kick 8 for them to win the game, particularly as they're so far down already. They've got Whitnell. Maxwell looks like he's just there taking Whitnell away from Buckley and taking him away from reading the play. Lockyer is an important player for them. They've gone small in their forward line, and they're just running wide, and then they're going to try and pinpoint to the top of the pyramid, and that's where Buckley will be sitting. So Thornton in for a big night.
Back in the middle, the margin is 17 points. Fanning this time timing his jump. Off the line was Walker. Bentic with some strength. Just cut off a little bit by Davis. Lacuria looked up, and all he could see were Carlton players.
The question is, Jared, whether they can get the ball there often enough, isn't it?
And one of the great strengths of Collingwood in their grand final era was their takeaways. It hasn't been a strength this year, and right now Carlton are showing them how it's done at the stop plays.
Speaking of which, Kudafiti's driving Carlton forward. Going nowhere, Wait.
Great tackle. Turned him. No prior.
Sounds like court proceedings.
No objections at all from the Collingwood players. Bentic.
Barney tried.
Again trying to use some strength to get a clearance. Whistle on play. Kudafiti's free kick, and he's going to kick from just outside the forward 50. Just under 9 minutes remaining. The Blues leading by 17 points. Will he look to lay off here? Favola wanted him to. Heads high, heads long, and heads beautifully. Goal to Kuda, 6 goals to Carlton, and they quickly answer the Buckley goal at the other end. So the captain's kicking the 2 goals. Again, let's hear from Wayne Schwartz.
Well, they're certainly got off to a terrific start, Carlton. Wayne Carey made mention before about Dennis Pagan's liking to have a Pagan's paddock. This should give you some insight here. Bentic gets a quick kick into an open forward line where a lot of Carlton players are running with their Collingwood defenders towards goal. Extremely difficult to stop that as a defender, but more importantly, Carlton players in front, which is something Dennis Pagan worked very hard with Wayne Carey himself at his time in North Melbourne.
Thanks, Wayne. Blues lead 23 points. And this crowd has built up late, and it will certainly be nudging 50,000 mark as Fanning wins it down straight to Bentic. And charging into that open territory is Favola. Was he dragged down? No. Yes, he was.
Well, once again, just the back line of Collingwood under enormous pressure because it's like a traffic cop just directing flow into Carlton's forward line.
They've got that most important thing that you want in a forward line. It starts with S, ends with E, space. And Favola had that. Favola had that once again. Quick kick out of the centre. Normally that goes to 2 or 3 players standing in the corridor. Favola had a clean run at it. Prestigiacomo realises that, has to hang on. Free kick.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work out like that every week.
This for a 7-goal opening quarter, which they've only done 3 other times in the first term against Collingwood in their 108 years of meetings. Are we on our way to a history-making night tonight? The view from behind Brendan, looking to join the Carlton party. Number 7 indeed. 7 different goal kickers, Collingwood, in an early hole.
Clinton, we got in the lift just prior to the start of the match after coming up from the boundary line, and in the lift were 2 Carlton supporters who'd just been to the TAB. And we asked them what they liked, and they said Carlton to win by 72 points plus. And we looked at them and raised our eyebrows. I think they've made an inspired decision.
They are on pace.
They are on pace for a pickup.
I'm holding their bet. I'm feeling very nervous.
What odds did you give them?
Well, that would have to have been 10s, I reckon.
7 goals straight for the second time this year in 3 weeks. I mean, their openings in the last 3 games have been sensational, the Blues, and there's still plenty of time to beat the first quarter score against Collingwood of all time. That was back in 1985, 7 goals for.
Relax.
So the question, Wayne, is you've got your best midfielder in the goal square. Do you stick him on and try and just try and get some leverage back?
Well, that's a big question that Mick Moldhouse will be asking himself right now, whether he is more important through the midfield. I'm sure he wants to give a few of these young fellas a run through the midfield and work for next year, although they want to win this game, no doubt about that.
Davis is into a little bit of space for Collingwood, going back. Lacuria. Terrific mark. So you've got another midfielder who could be in at the centre, who could be in at the clearances.
And he's not.
And he's taking marks up forward.
The question is whether they think Nathan Buckley's best value now is through the midfield. And you'd have to question whether it is. He's coming back from what very serious hamstring.
Tonight, surely it's up forward.
It is, and I think, and it has been probably the last few weeks. They've been decimated by injury in their forward line. It's the only position he can play at the moment. Otherwise, who else is going to play there?
The margin is 29 points. Lacuria looking to bring it back to 23. Collingwood's third. It's way left for him.
Travis Cloke onto the ground.
Well, he will fill a key forward role, you would think, as Scott Burns takes a break. Camporelli with the kick-in duties, long to a contest. Morrell trying to take the hanger. Nick Stevens clever. And Carlton suddenly on the wing and motoring. Scotland under pressure, gone.
Good chase.
Terrific chase from Swan.
Dane Swan, deceivingly quick. We've seen that a couple of times now from him this year. He's got a nuggety type build. You don't realise how quick he is.
Giving it up for Morrison. Chipping to the pocket. Cloak caught behind. Has to go to Spoil. Cleverly got it to Davis. On the run from 50 on the boundary line. Missed it by that much. Thornton with the mark.
Maxwell is out there too, missed it by that much.
Very smart of you.
Stuffed.
Thornton. Gets the hurry up now. Going towards Wade at the front of the pack. Just glides across the turf. Couldn't hang on. Buckley for Woden. Lappin closing. Now Holland. Stabbing it up to Lockyer. And he is a good kicker of the football. And his skipper right alongside told him straight away, go back and have a shot.
He was there for a very long time by himself, Lockyer.
Scott, just where I'm standing, mate. Go out with him. Take Shane.
7 straight to 2-2. Number 20 in the AFL for kicks this year. Tarkin Lockyer averaging 19 possessions a game. One of his nicknames at the Lexus Centre is Toe Cutter, bearing a resemblance from one of the madmen in Mad Max 1. The view from the Great Southern Stand, and he won't be happy about that, the old Toe Cutter. Another behind.
No, that's he's the third player that's missed a gettable goal, and they're costly when Carlton have been so accurate.
And they've all been experienced players. Buckley, Lacuria, Lockyer. The players, when they've got so many juniors out there tonight, have to take those opportunities.
Interesting role for Cade Simpson, kicking out from full-back.
That's a sure sign that Dennis Pagan has got a lot of faith in you if you're taking the kick out.
He may get it back here if Carazzo spots him, but he didn't. He's decided Scotland was the better option. Some patience required here from Carlton. Morrell coming late. Prestigiaco. Cloak, I should have said, back into the pack. This is McGrath. Davis on the up. Maxwell breaking now for Collingwood. Through the middle, Buckley's on a long lead. Here he comes, and he gets it. Wonderful kick from Maxwell. Spotted Buckley early.
Well, he could have 3 already, and that hamstring looked all right to me. That was a great mark.
I love that kick into the forward line also. I mean, if that ball gets spoiled, it goes to the other end of the ground, but often that's where the space is. You saw Buckley lead there. You've got to have the courage to use it. They used it. Buckley didn't let him down. Good play.
Third shot on goal, as Jared mentioned, for Nathan Buckley. May have to kick 8. He's got a couple of behinds. 1 goal, 2, and that look says it all. With 3 minutes 40 remaining, they're starting to even up on the scoring shots, but not on the scoreboard total.
And I felt for you there, Matty. Pretty tough on commentators where blokes dye their hair and don't let anybody know. Jason Cloak,
all of a sudden he's a bit darker.
On the kick back into play, that Buckley miss, similar to the one of time on last week against the Roos that could have iced the Magpie win. Koutafidis to Morel, attacking side of the southern wing, working our way towards 3 minutes, and Chambers on the end of it, 50 out on the boundary. French is going forward, appealing for it. Chambers didn't see him. Now we'll wait. The former West Coast Eagle. There's for Volan. Chambers popping it up to the top of the square. Woden down Woden. Had time to survey his options, goes short. Maxwell marks, provides the run. Sweeping hand pass wide for Davis. Buckley working hard up near the wing now. About to be collared by Teague. Nice turning circle. Loose man on it, half forward. Hits him with it. Morrison elects to pass it off. Risky ball though. Camporelli in the way. Egan the pressure. Here's Swan on the left. Can he bounce it home? Yes! A reward for their perseverance as much as anything else. And Dane Swan bounces it home for the 5th goal of his career, and a badly needed one for his club.
Well, it all started with Maxwell across the half-back line. He's an impressive player, Maxwell, and he's going to be part of this Collingwood outfit for a decade, hopefully. But in the finish, they did everything possible to mark it up, but they got the job done finally. Good lead from Buckley. Good control, great turning circle, of course. Leon Davis saw him, spotted him, gave him a chance.
And Maxwell's actually playing half forward, flank forward pocket, so he's getting behind the ball, running the ball up. Teague will have to watch that.
Matthew Lappin playing a similar role for Carlton, although not quite getting as much touch.
Collingwood have had one more disposal at this stage of this first term, but they trail by 20 points. Once again, there's a ruck infringement at the centre square. It's French again, the recipient. Over to Camporelli. In 2 minds. The short pass, Waite.
Wait!
Thank you.
Calling his name beautifully, the umpire there. Carazzo. Just not enough on it for Simpson. Favola arrives, so too Holland for Collingwood. Prestigiacomo got a boot on it. Simpson wants his 2nd goal of the quarter. Heads to the square. Big punch coming from Cloak. Eddie Betts. O'Brien. Shaw just trying to clear it. Not getting it too far. Chambers again. Well, not his best kick. He is a better kick than that. We saw that when he played at the West Coast Eagles. A fine kick, especially at goal. And that's the first behind for Carlton, so that's their best first quarter for 2005. They lead by 21 points.
Clement to Holland in the back pocket. Inside of 90 seconds remaining. Opening turn. Davies to the wing. Loose man. Wakeland.
Classic Collingwood bringing the ball forward round the boundary.
Now a square up. Travers clock.
Skinny, a metre, skinny, metre.
Collingwood, last 5 marks inside 50. Can they add to that total? Not quite. Camporelli. Boot to ball quickly and cleverly. Chance on the wing now. Walker electing to go back. Carazzo about to be under pressure. Chips it towards half forward. Morel and O'Brien. They both go down. McGrath putting pressure on O'Brien, who's tied up. Enping.
Too long! Far too long!
McGrath chipping it over the top. Walker kept on running.
There, Nige, there, mate.
Down to 30 seconds. This the important ball. Can he find a target? Yes. And Nick Stevens can have a shot at goal late.
Hey, bro.
Clock frozen for the time being at 23 seconds.
Yep. Put.
And the man who could have been a Magpie can try and extend the margin back out. O'Brien did not knock it out. And the umpires are hot on that this year.
Thank you.
But the players have been warned. Stevens' kick at goal is across the face. So that behind makes it 7 goals to, just shy of their all-time best opening term against Collingwood.
It's been wayward in front of goal this year, Stevens. 12-15. And that's disappointing from a man with such great foot skills. Wakeland's had a good first term. Clock counting down. Cloak over the back. Couldn't quite take it. Stevens back to mop up. Back through the corridor. But once again, Carlton, late in the season, have come out of the blocks with a fantastic first quarter. 7 goals to 7 individual goal kickers. and they lead by 22 points over Mick Malthouse's team. Plenty to think about, but Wayne, they did have some opportunities. Collingwood just missed their set shots on goal.
Without a doubt, very entertaining first quarter. Whenever you have a side kick 7 goals, always going to be. You summed it up, Matty, when you said they had their opportunities. Nathan Buckley especially. You wouldn't expect him to miss those type of goals. He kicks them, all of a sudden it's a lot closer than what the score shows at the moment.
22 points the margin at quarter time. 7-2, playing 3-4 live and exclusively from coast to coast. You're watching Fox Footy, Carlton and Collingwood. Saturday night football, and a pretty good crowd has turned out to the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Carlton 7-2-44 leading Collingwood 3-4, 22 by 22 points. All single goal kickers. Barnaby French getting the job done for the Blues. Davis with 9 touches for the Magpies. Carlton assistant coach Tony Liberatore talking now with Gerard Healy.
Good on you, Liber. You must be thrilled with the takeaways and the centre clearances so far.
Yeah, we are, Gerard. Look, it's pretty swirly out here, but Barnaby French is getting his first hand to the ball, so it's been good so far.
And the run from the half-back line, in particular, Camperelli setting up some goals.
Yeah, it's very important. I mean, against a side like Collingwood, who like to sit back off the stoppages, if we can make them defend and get them to follow us, especially our backline players, will be good.
Libba, are you worried about the Brett Thornton, Nathan Buckley matchup?
It is a concern at this stage, but you know, we got to back him in.
Liber, appreciate your time. Thanks. Tony Liberatore, Carlton assistant coach, talking tactics now with Wayne Schwass.
Well, you look at the respective sides' entries inside 50. They're 13 apiece, which is terrific for the fact that Collingwood are getting enough supply. But importantly, it's what's happening once they get the ball inside 50. And more importantly, it's what's happening with the ball in the hands of some experienced players. Nathan Buckley, the Collingwood captain, so good for so long. Look, he's allowed to make a couple of mistakes, but that's his bread and butter. 35 metres out, slight angle. You'd expect better from the Collingwood skipper. Then you've got Paul Lucuria on the right side for a left footer. Not noted for his goal kicking, but still he kicked that 100 times at training. And then again, another experienced player in Tarkin Lockyer. You've got to get your opportunities, you've got to convert them, and you expect that from your senior players. They'll have to pick up in that regard, Collingwood, to get themselves back in the match.
Down at the boundary level, here's Tiffany Cherry.
And for either side, I can just tell you that certainly Mick Malthouse made specific mention to David Fanning straight into that break, then was talking to him for quite a while, but no problems for either side at this point in time.
All right, thanks for that, Tiff. Yes, that's one area. Fanning versus French. Fanning 1 possession, 3 hitouts. French 7 possessions, 9 hitouts, 5 contested ball, 1. Second term about to start. Matty Campbell on Saturday Night Football.
It's a 22-point margin. Fanning up against French. We heard from Libber that they're happy with what's happening just here, and Bentic's been very good. He's first at it, but he's not going anywhere this time.
Simon Wiggins playing very deep for the Blues, and he's being picked up by James Clement.
Is he out there, Wiggins? I thought he was in hospital. No, he's there.
You're not going to stop, are you? You're a dog at a bone.
I'm not going to stop.
I thought I'd missed something during the week. Now I know what you're talking about.
Still got just under 3/4 to mention it again, Wayne. Favola and Prestigiacomo, and the consummate backman is happy to see it over the line.
For those who don't know what I'm talking about, the Byron Pickett incident on Wiggins.
How'd he go this week? I missed the results.
So did I.
Got 2 weeks.
Shit.
More about that later.
No doubt.
Fanning again with French, and Fanning did well to pick it up straight away and try and move it forward. Swan not going anywhere. Scotland over the top of him, former
Didn't
teammate.
dive on it, he was picking it up.
And speaking to Mick Malthouse earlier today, he said that Shane Wakeland wouldn't get the job on weight. All of a sudden, he is now playing on weight.
Doesn't trust you to keep a secret. Nick Stevens also deep for the Blues in the goal square, being picked up by Egan.
Lappin, it's a high ball. Here comes Waite, but going back. Presti once again in the right spot for Collingwood.
Thank you.
Looks to play on. Will have to now with a hand pass to Wakeland. And now he finds an opening. He always loves having a bounce. Much to the chagrin at times of the Collingwood coaching staff. O'Brien uses his body, doubles back. Good contest this for the time being. That's a creative handball.
He's stiff there, Egan, because he won a great one-on-one battle with Nick Stevens. He just grabbed his arm at the inappropriate moment.
Wiggins now going for Stevens. O'Brien to get another go. Support provided by Wakeland with the spoil. Running onto it, Bentic near the boundary line. Did well, kept it alive for Stevens. Carlton starting well.
Spectating Collingwood players. They're hanging off the contest.
And
letting their blokes go to the ball.
And Kudafiti's the benefits of being in front, takes the mark and can have a shot at goal.
And this is Kuda's second shot at goal, Jared. We've spoken a lot about Nathan Buckley going forward later in his career. Can Kudafiti do the same thing for Carlton? Can he play at centre-half forward or deeper in the forward line for Carlton? We know he's very good around stoppages, but is he capable as Nathan Buckley?
He's certainly capable, I reckon, of being in the goal square right now.
Pushing the kick out to the right for a behind.
Must be that end.
7-3 to 3-4. You're on Fox Footy's live and exclusive coverage on a Saturday night.
Yeah, just at that last contest, I think Mick Malthouse would be filthy that he had 2 or 3 Collingwood players sitting 15 metres off the battle. One of his teammates was fighting against a couple of Carlton people, and there wasn't much urgency to get over.
Well, Woden's certainly not urgent at the moment. But with some trickery, gets around Betts and then heads for the boundary. Egan is target. Right within McGrath, but Egan's got genuine pace. Runs onto it now. Heading long. In the best spot, Buckley. Well, he just faded off of Thornton there. Read the fact that Egan had some carry on his kick. Thornton completely caught out of position.
Well, you wouldn't say he was out of position. Nathan Buckley's reading the ball and marking the ball very well tonight. Just judging the ball a little bit better through the air than Thornton.
He's playing full forward, and there's only one Collingwood player that's had more possessions.
Yeah. He's a very good player, isn't he?
This very second, has he got it back on target? Yes, he has. Buckley gets it. Gets the first goal of the second term for Collingwood. 2-2 to Skipper.
Well, right now it's a pretty simple formula. Buckley kicks 8, Collingwood can win.
Yep.
If Buckley doesn't kick 8, Carlton will win.
You asked Tony Webber-Torre, do you kick Thornton on him? Libba says we've got to back him in. When do you get nervous?
I think they'd be a little bit nervous in the coach's box right now, let's be honest. Like you said, Jared, Buckley's had 7 possessions. There's only one player on the ground that's had more.
I saw Stephen Silvani, fullback of last century, play on Tony Lockett when he kicked 10+ at Moorabbin, and Robert Wall said he was their 3rd best player on the day. Didn't shift him. There's not another Carlton player, I think, that can do the job on Nathan Buckley. There aren't any options. Brett Thornton has just got to do the best he can.
Bounce favouring French for Bentic. Now Walker careering through without the football. Second effort got it to McGrath. Morrison the steal. Collingwood a chance again. Davis on the left. Kicking very wide. Carlton should be able to mop up. The bounce though eludes Camporelli. And Buckley, there's an aura about him right now. And this could well be a goal assist as he sets up Maxwell.
Well, he's just having one of those nights, Nathan Buckley. He led then, the kick went over his head. He ended up getting back on the ball quicker than the 2 Carlton players who had the advantage of the poor kick coming in, and still able to set Maxwell up for a shot at goal.
Thanks, that's it. He's standing right on it.
Maxwell with 4 goals this season. The only 4 in his career, 28th senior game. If he kicks this, Collingwood have got the last 3, and they're right back in it. To the punt road end goal. The kick is good. Margin 11 points. Tiffany Cherry boundary side.
Despite the fact that Collingwood just kicked 2 goals, there is a definite breeze in the centre of the ground favouring Carlton at this point in time.
Thanks, Tiff. 7-3 plays 5-4.
Well, Maxwell is the player of the future. We spoke about him. He'll be delighted that he's playing with Nathan Buckley. And Buckley had to do it all there because Leon Davis didn't pick him up early enough, or in fact he ignored his lead. And it was only the missed kick that let Buckley back in.
Margin is back to 11 points. This time again, Fanning wins it. Bentic off the ground.
And this has been the difference, Matt. Collingwood are just winning out of the centre and into stoppages.
They've won the last 3, but not to be this time. Thornton getting in front of Buckley.
One slip apiece.
Whitnell.
Me.
Good calling by the umpire.
Wants a rolling cap and kid.
Simpson had some confidence to go back to Whitnell. Scotland.
That's yours.
Carlton going nowhere though, but if they can just maintain possession, they could set up the loose man. Carazzo, as Collingwood now flood back. Got all their numbers. Heading into the middle of the ground. Again, Carazzo called to play on. And it ends up back where we started with Simpson.
When this happens, I think it's a really good tactic to actually all run into the middle of the ground. All of a sudden, it opens up both wings. You've got a lot of space, basically like a kick-out. You see the Sydney Swans do it very well.
There's a push. O'Brien gets the free kick. Collingwood fans on that side of the ground very happy with that.
Got to move it quickly. It's the real number one in today's footy. Move it quickly to stop the flood.
Wants Travis Cloak deep. Just tried to knock it on. French left it for McGrath. Carlton going forward. Dropped though by Shaw for Collingwood. Here's a chance, Bentic. Trying to share it around. Stevens. Walker stepping. Going back through the middle. Poor kick. Favola gave it well to Eddie Betts. Kicked the first goal of the game. Needs a kind bounce. Not going to get it. Wiggins. Taken over beautifully by Clement. Wonderful tackle. We'll have a throw in right around from the Carlton goal. Collingwood have kicked the opening 2 goals of this second quarter.
Who's the defender there, Wayne? Wiggins or Clement?
Who's the defender?
Yeah.
Well, it's Clement.
Well worked out, gentlemen.
I'm just wondering whether Clement's not there to try and nullify Clement.
You mean Wiggins there to nullify? Yeah, I know what you meant. I think, look, you might be right, Jared. I haven't watched that match up closely enough, but you might be spot on. He's that dangerous down there, but that's exactly what they may be doing.
Crowded attacking zone for the Blues. French head out to the right spot, getting their first Prestigiacomo. Hacks it away. Simpson and Locken. Simpson for Carazzo. Now Lappin finding an opening. Can he steady? 45 out. Pushes the kick right for a behind.
Just on that, Jared. James Clement. Zip, zip and zip. Hasn't touched the footy.
Well, I think it's been a great move from Carlton. I mean, James Clement sets up so many kicks. He's, I think, equal in efficiency with long kicks in the league. And it's a darn good move. Simon Wiggins is doing his job.
Yep, Wiggins only had the one, but Clement none.
Good spoil by Lappin. Woden can get it over the top for Cloak. And look at that kick, precise. And Jason Cloak marks. Delivers towards the centre square for Buckley. Oh, he's omnipresent in that Collingwood forward line. Too far out to score here. Drills the ball at the lead of Burns. It's over his head. Maxwell there. Camporelli sidesteps Davis. Bangs it to the southern wing. Collingwood will get their first Wakeland. Back pedals. Steadies. Drifts it wide. O'Brien. Elects to go short. Missed the target though in Burns. Camporelli clears. Davis at full stretch can keep it in. Might go backwards to the wing and does. And this is Shaw. Pausing on the logo. Collingwood trailing by 2 goals.
Maintaining possession through Locken.
Locken now is on Simpson. I think they've just brought somebody with their ultra pace to play on Simpson.
Guess who?
Yeah.
That's good enough.
No mark.
Play on. The umpire standing just at the top of your screen on the boundary.
No, I've got to give him a chance if I'll call play on. It came out underneath.
Hit my legs and came up.
It came out. Give me the footy. It came out underneath.
Let's take a look.
Yep.
It's hit the ground. You can understand Nathan thinking that actually might have bounced off his knee there.
Play on. Got a kick. Play on.
Swan couldn't keep it in.
I'm just amazed that Nathan Buckley found that space. He actually found space. They were chipping the ball on centre wing. Carlton had got numbers back, yet it basically had enough space to nearly take an uncontested mark. But it did hit the ground, Nathan.
Play on.
French, Camporelli for the clearance. Davis in and under.
My ball.
The assist in the tackle almost by his teammates.
You had it, Scotty.
It's been a fair response by Collingwood. They've worked hard to get back into this match. It looked like a blowout. And right now, that betting ticket, they're ripping it up.
Over the top once again, French. O'Brien. Back into the middle. Cloak. Walker just went in and said, I'll take it, thank you. Whitnell. Camporelli. They share it through the middle. This is Bentic. Building. But the handball misses the target. Luckily for Carlton, Simpson was running in support of Stevens. Simpson. Kicked too early. Waite was trying to double back to get some space on the back of Waitland. Waitland just followed the football and should clear for Collingwood. This looks promising.
Too big a paddock.
O'Brien at half-back has Holland over the top and Brodie's off. Stevens closing. Holland do a pack at half-forward. Travis Cloak the climb. Camporelli is prominent right now. That handball missed the target, but Scotland's got time. Goes to McGrath at centre half-back, and he's got a lot of space to work with. Halfway through quarter number 2. McGrath targets Bryant, and he marks strongly in front of Fanning. Wants to play on by hand. Bentic going quickly for Volder and Prestigiacomo. Who's got the better second effort? It's a good duel. Wakeland gains 20 metres. Prestigiacomo wouldn't mind the boundary line. In fact, that's a better result. Woden's got Buckley leading to the wing. And he is everywhere right now. Happy to take some time. Gain some breaths. Carlton without a goal this quarter. Buckley told to play on. The man on the mark, Thornton not game enough to run in him. Waite from the other side. Oh, just about had him. Buckley didn't see him coming. High to half forward. Off hands, Carazzo for Stevens for Scotland. And now he could break down the middle. And that's an illegal shepherd, and it will be a Collingwood free. Mercuria to get it.
Pushing it back.
It's gone against Bryant. And that curtails what looked like being a promising build-up for the Blues.
Mercuria looking to share it quickly now.
Got the outer side, the Great Southern Stand side, all three. Surely someone will work there.
Indeed, it's the fat side, but
Gone skinny.
Burns has got some space here, though, and some time. Measures it with the left. Thornton went to ground. Here's a chance for Collingwood. Stevens couldn't take it. Travis Cloak comes through. Simpson looked up, saw Walker, missed the target. Walker kept going. Paddled forward. Well done by the youngster who came into the side. Carazzo didn't have possession. Here's Davis trying to burrow through. Does so. Gave it over to Swan. Mercuria going back. Shaw spotting a player, missing the target. That's the story at the moment. You hit your targets inside 50, you can kick the goal, you can have a shot on goal, because if you hit Buckley inside 50, he can go back and kick his third.
Well, he just keeps finding space, Nathan Buckley. Once again, fairly crowded forward line, but Nathan Buckley knowing exactly where to run.
7 marks already, lining up for his third goal, and there's the off-the-ball push on Mercuria.
We're seeing history being made here. A full forward may end up with the highest possessions for his team, and I don't think that's ever happened in the history of the game.
Could get 25 plus.
And he's essentially playing out of the square, a little bit up the ground. He's working hard, getting ruck rover stats, and he could well have kicked 4 already.
This to bring the margin back to 1 straight kick on the reverse angle. Beautiful kick by the skipper. That's his third. Let's go to Wayne Schwartz.
Well, Wayne Carey and both Jared Healy have made mention of the fact that they're not too sure how Nathan Buckley happens to find himself in so much space. Quite simply, it's a matter of work rate. Now, Nathan Buckley, arguably one of the oldest players out on the ground, does not stop his work rate. Here momentarily indicating which way he'd like the ball. You look there, he's constantly watching the play, which way he should go, always on the trot. Very hard for a player like Brett Thornton to finally shut down. And it's amazing if you continually try and present yourself, sometimes the ball just happens to follow you like it is for Nathan Buckley.
He said a fortnight ago, I don't know how many years I've got left, how many games I've got left. You take it 1 year at a time. He's 33. He says he won't hang on just to reach the 300-game milestone, which is another couple of seasons away. It's game number 252 tonight, but it's a beauty. And it's got his team back to within a goal after they trailed by 29 points. This is Waite. Carlton remaining goalless in this second quarter. Waite to the goal square. Favola's got to beat 2, and it bounces into the post.
And they've changed it up, Carlton. They've put Kuta Footies into the goal square. Kuta hasn't had a lot of the footy. He's had 7 possessions. But just at this point in time, they're probably trying to get fresh legs around the ball. He's their greatest clearance player, and yet he's in the goal square.
And McGrath has now been moved on to Nathan Buckley. So Brett Thornton, the move has been made.
And they persisted for a quarter and a half as Lakeland hits James Clement for his first mark, and now first kick coming up. And it's to the wing. We're getting in space and should be able to take the mark as Maxwell. He does, and he sidesteps Whitnell with disdain. Goes to Buckley one-on-one with McGrath. He should have the body strength. He's got it. He feeds it to Wigan. He loads it up. Collingwood are on the march. And there's a little bit of spunk about that young man, Chris Egan. Magpies have kicked 5 in a row, and they've closed to within a point.
Yeah, Egan, but also Maxwell. I love the lead. Talk about work rate from Wayne Swass. He presented a 70-metre lead and then spun around and saw Nathan Buckley. Here he goes. Now have a look at this for some confidence. And that's what you need, the balk, the shimmy, and a long kick to Nathan Buckley. Now, was he grabbed? Probably. No free kick from the umpire. It was there, but a good finish.
Wonderful finish from Egan. His first for the night, his 7th for the season. And the Magpies now within 1 point, set to take the lead. This is where they're starting it. In the middle, once again, it's Swan. Could have used Morrison, decided to back himself. Short pass, Burns.
Work rate up 40%, the Magpies. Absolutely. You just can't recognise the team.
Shaw. Kick just dies on its end, and it falls in favour of Thornton.
Blues have got to get it more out of the Matthew Lappin types. Camporelli's been shut down. Nick Stevens has been shut down in this term.
Here's Stevens with the football. Out in front of Walker. That eventually goes out of bounds.
Andy! Thanks, mate.
Brodie Holland for a spell. The Cloak brothers and Nick Maxwell, who's been impressive at times. He got that goal and he just was involved in the Buckley Egan setup. Teague stepping through. Whitnell arriving, going back Shaw. Morrell took it cleanly, heads to the goal square. Fisher and Clement. The bounce suits Fisher. The tackle was good from Clement. Favola could have given it back, didn't need to. Kicks the goal, it's a beauty. Second goal to Favola. Could have just laid off the handball to Carazzo, who was in the right position. Decided to go his own way, Wayne, and kick a beauty.
Well, I'm pretty sure the game plan team rules, there would be a rule saying no U-turns, but there's also another rule. You live and die by the sword, and if they go through the big sticks, you don't get in too much trouble off DP.
It's a great little handball, though. They've put Fisher down into the goal square. And Collingwood are trying to execute the same matchups. They're trying to get Clement onto Fisher and expose a pace difference. But Collingwood won't let it happen, and Harry is going with him.
And did you say Lance Whitnell has gone to centre-half forward now?
And Clement's gone out to match him up.
Bryan to Bentic to Stevens to Camporelli. Clearance comfortable for Carlton. Long inside the 50. Whitnell getting back. Pressure applied. Shaw gone. Eddie Betts, great stuff. Whitnell bullocking through. A bounce.
No prior. No prior. No prior. Well done, guys. Well battled. Cheers, Lance.
Ray Chamberlain with the whistle as you see the tackle put on Shaw by Eddie Betts. Deep in Carlton's attacking zone. Morrell palming it down. Bentic's seen a bit of it. Clever kick, although Collingwood getting to the full. Can't hang on. Betts caught. Had no one with him, just dropped it off short. Cooter flicks it out the side door. Standing start, blazing away and kicking it out of bounds on the full as Stevens.
Looks dangerous, Eddie Betts, around those stoppages.
Yeah, fine there. Fine there.
Fanning to take the free for the Magpies.
One-on-one situation. Went over the top of Lockyer, who just backed up nicely. And eventually now, Collingwood break through Morrison, through the centre of the ground. Again, it's an open forward line. Buckley lurking at the back. It spills, though, off McGrath to Carazzo. Buckley, the good tackle. He is everywhere at the moment. Egan, Lacuria. Buckley's up, he could get it back. Davis, the short pass. O'Brien can play on. Over the top to the goal square. He wanted Burns, he didn't see Simpson.
Gerald, I know we've spoken about this a couple of times, but if you had taken that, that was the perfect Joe the Goose.
Yeah, yeah.
Over the top. In the end, didn't quite get there.
No one got it.
No. Simpson kicking long, 2-on-1 situation. The one wins out. Swan. Can Collingwood quickly make amends?
That'll do. Come on, Swanee. Play on. Play on.
Chip pass over the top.
Play on. Hit the ground.
Missed Davies. Teague is a very good tackler. He's the best tackler at the Blues. Very hard to get past.
Certainly was a chip pass over the top. Didn't find the target. Would have been lucky to have been the 15 metres.
Well, this is becoming the struggle we're anticipating now. 4 minutes from half-time. Stevens to Koutafidis to Lappin, the big names for the Blues, combining as Lappin goes long and Fisher marks in front of O'Brien. Plays on quickly. Good kick. Stevens now using Scotland. Carlton away. Favola on the lead. Scotland in his direction. Over the head of Prestigiacomo. Eddie Betts. He'll kick a goal. Put down your glasses. Number 2 for Eddie. And Carlton's lead is just that. 2 goals the difference. Time on second term.
Jared, you've played all your career on ball, also up forward when you're resting. That is one of the hardest skills to perfect. Hitting the ball at pace off a pack and reading it like Eddie Betts did there. He's an exciting player. He looks dangerous around the stoppages, but also when the ball gets in there quickly and he's able to get to the feet of his key forwards, he looks extremely dangerous.
He's a true crummer, isn't he? And Carlton are going to be best served if they create crumbs. Back there, players like Whitnell or Favola in. If that had been chipping, he wouldn't have got that. Beauty was he just kept his composure under pressure and went around a couple and still managed to kick the goal.
Has a super instinct for a goal, doesn't he? Bentic. Well, he's just sort of rolled over and put it up.
No station, he dived on that. He just picked it up. No, he picked it up. Then got trapped in there.
It's a good goal against the flow of play, though, because Collingwood have dominated this quarter. Carlton have really struggled, but that was a tremendous response.
They've just steadied here, the Blues, haven't they? Bryan winning it for Scotland. Fisher right with him, O'Brien. Fisher on hands and knees. Ducked back through. Just missed with the handball, though. Bentic scooping it up and getting it out. Carazzo. O'Brien closes. Carazzo forced to kick short. Favola round the body. Does he get enough on it? Wakeland with the spoil over the top of Chambers and behind once again. Carlton now out to a 13-point margin. They led by 22 at quarter time. We've got 2.5 minutes remaining in this second quarter.
I reckon Brad Fisher's pace is really concerning Collingwood. He's been involved in the last few forays forward for Carlton. And he's capable of getting up on the wing and still charging back.
And you mentioned Nick Stevens had to get back in the game. He's done so.
He has.
3 kicks, but a dozen hand passes for Nick Stevens. That ball's helped over for a boundary throw-in. The Blues winning the clearance battle of late. They're in front now 16-13 in that statistical category.
Chrissy, don't grab an arm.
There is Nick Stevens. 3 marks to go with those 15 touches. Paul Licuria alongside now. Half forward for Carlton. Bryan getting a hand to it. Woden with a good pickup. Down the line he goes towards half forward. Now that's off the boot of Teague, but it lands safely for a throw-in. Collingwood with 5 wins and 14 losses. If they win one of their last 3 games, they will be denied a priority pick as you have a look at the Carlton bench. But the players, well, they don't care about something like that right now. They just want to beat the old enemy. A scramble from the boundary throw-in. Davies the little handball, ineffective. Here's Stevens again. Handball number 13 was effective. 1-on-1, Fisher and O'Brien. O'Brien just landed in the breadbasket there, and he finds Wakeland alone at half-back.
Brendan!
Slowed down by Favola on the mark. Now this is Davies. Collingwood can run here. Has support, does Davies. He can drive it deep inside the 50. Held onto it too long, and Betts closed quickly with a wonderful smother. And then he wraps up with O'Brien. And Carlton might end up winning here, which would be a great boost. And they do. Bentic for Favola to Whitnell. Now Wakeland's floating back. Can he get to this ball? Otherwise Eddie Betts will be dangerous. Simpson in support. It's a tight angle. He hurries the kick. And it's through for a behind.
Well, he's only an inexperienced player, but Ben Davies is going to have to learn that when you bounce the ball, you don't take your eyes off what's coming at you. Because in doing so, he allowed McGrath or whichever Carlton player
Betts.
was, Eddie Betts, to close the space and then make him look like an inexperienced player that he was in getting the ball smothered.
This time, he gave it over to Locken, who receives and gets the 1-2 from Licuria. Heading towards centre forward, Thornton. Pushing the back, not paid. Maxwell just trying to fish it forward. Lappin, scragged off it by Wawa, he didn't have possession. Umpire Nichols.
But you dragged him off the foot, he hasn't taken possession of the ball.
Fair call.
So 50 metres for a wedgie. Get reported for everything else.
Lappin.
Now.
Heads to centre wing. Collingwood with some numbers there. Cloak the spoil. Bentic tried to get through the gap. Teague got a call from Camporelli and turned Fisher. Carlton again on the build. No one to kick to though. Now Collingwood with Wakeland, who's been very good this time on the rebound. They've got numbers. Holland could have used Lockyer. Oh, it's just untidy, but Lockyer still has it. McGrath missed it. Buckley. Short pass. Lacuria. It's going to play on. He's tight on the boundary. Needs a superlative kick. Hits the woodwork. It was coming back, wasn't it? Right to left. Another yard, and that was through. And Lacuria gets the behind, and the timing would have been perfect for Collingwood right before half-time because we've got 13 seconds left.
And the Blues don't turn it over from the kick-in. Lacuria perhaps not expecting the umpire's whistle for the 15 metres from the Buckley kick. It was paid, but he was committed. Gee, Scotland's nearly turned it over. Can Egan get it to Buckley? He cannot, and that's half-time. The Magpies, having trailed by 29 points at one stage in the first term, closed to within one, but the Blues steadied. Entertaining football game.
Oh, it's a great comeback by Collingwood after a magnificent opening quarter by the Blues. So there's been a bit in it for all spectators. There's some good young kids on display. Kate Simpson, I think, has been a quality player for the Blues, and I think that Harry O'Brien across that half-back line's been one to look out for the Magpies. But essentially this story has been about Nathan Buckley playing up forward, 13 possessions. He's kicked 3 goals, 2 behinds, and really been a player that has kept them in the game. Carlton, well, if they can keep up their work rate, it's going to be pretty tough for Collingwood to overrun them. But this is a game that could still go either way, Clinton.
Plenty to play for. You can hear some talk in amongst the Magpie team. The Carlton side, though, they've got the lead. 13 points at half-time, 9-7 to 7 goals, 6. We'll come back, talk more about it after this on Fox Footy. Brendan Favola and the Blues beginning the second half, enjoying a 13-point lead on a fine night in Melbourne, and the old rivals doing battle. Matthew James chatting with Corey McGrath. 9-7 to 7 goals, 6. A key part of Heritage Round. Mick Malthouse said, I seriously toyed with getting into the spirit of the day by coaching from the boundary line, carrying a clipboard and wearing a trench coat, bow tie and pork pie hat. I'm not joking, he said. I approached the club about it, writing in the Australian, but we decided it would merely invite criticism. Second half underway.
Koutafiti's first to get his hands on the ball. Scotland sharing it with Stevens, and this is an impressive start. Bentic on the break, heading to the top of the square. Wiggins takes the mark. Great start for the Blues in the second half. Simon Wiggins should kick this just 15 to 20 metres out, almost directly in front.
And all of a sudden, Jared, we made the call, or you made the call in the second quarter that Wiggins, we think, may be tagging Clement, which often happens to Clement these days because he is so dangerous. All of a sudden, bobs up, takes a mark earlier in the quarter. Only had the 1 possession in the first half.
Just the 3 goals for 2005, his second game back, and slots it straight through. Great start for the Blues. Let's hear from Wayne Schwass.
Well, terrific start. His body mightn't be as young as what it once was, but Anthony Koutafiti, so good in and around the centre clearances, and he gets his hands on the ball nice and early there, setting up that goal for Carlton. Just worked his way into the front position there, got away from Chad Morrison. You might say that's a lucky handball, but that's great vision. Set up Nick Stevens, and this young man on screen, Adam Bentic, sets up the Carlton goal. Terrific play by the Carlton captain.
16 disposals for Adam Bentic.
Marty.
Proving very important. Wiggins, the first goal for the second half.
They've got the last 3, the Blues.
What was interesting was he backed himself in and he pushed forward. They effectively, I think, said, we'll win, and he'll go forward towards goal. Comes out. player.
The ire of Matthew James after his errant bounce. It favours the Blues. Bentic to Kudafidis inside 50 nearly from Fisher at full stretch. O'Brien to Wakelin, and Collingwood can flood the southern wing.
That was a great performance by Harry again.
Wakelin stops. Goes wide for Morrison. Chips it up. Lucuria elects to play on quickly. Travis Cloak going to Buckley. Wrestling for the front spot, doing well, McGrath.
And you saw there McGrath, the advantage he's got over Thornton was the pace to close down Nathan Buckley. What he hasn't got, though, is the strength to go with him one-on-one. So Buckley now, I think, is better off almost playing in the goal square.
Just call it in like the old kick-to-kick.
Holding on, you got a fist on his jumper.
Collingwood isolating him in the goal square, but on this occasion, as you hear, the holding on the jumper, French will take the free. Elects to go to the wing. Whitnall, not quite, not paid, seemed unlucky. O'Brien, Swan, O'Brien, Collingwood running. Buckley has to double back. McGrath and Buckley now in a foot race. Boundary line looming. Oh, Buckley keeps it alive. Swings on the left and hits Travis Cloak. Oh, and he drops a mark. He should have taken that and rewarded the skipper. And Walker clears for the Blues. And a good kick to Wadu marks well.
Just didn't go hard enough for long enough then, Travis Cloak. He had it, and he just softened up the body rather than stealing the fingers and stealing the hands, absorbing the body contact.
So this is Camporelli. Now, what will Carlton do? It should have been a Collingwood shot on goal from 15 metres out. Whitnall at centre-half back. Straight up the middle. Simpson breaking quickly with some real pace. Could have kicked it out in front. Decides to go long. Oh, Kudafidis with some magic.
Relax, relax. Mark, right?
It was unfortunate because that dropped Mark at this end of the ground. The Collingwood end of the ground has robbed us of the opportunity to see Buckley's turn and kick 3 or 4 times, but no doubt we'll find it later on.
Thank you. No, wait.
Well, he's marked up with his elbow, Kuda.
Come here. Come here. Out. Shane, no, with me, Shane, or 50. Your choice. With me, Shane. Thank you very much.
Never in doubt. The captain kicks the goal, the turnaround. 2 goals to Kudafidis. Carlton, all of a sudden, with a real buffer.
And you spoke the other end, Nathan Buckley having the advantage over McGrath. Well, Kudafidis has the advantage over Morrison in the goal square.
Let's take you back. Nathan Buckley.
Oh, I'm not so sure that wasn't out either.
Treading a fine line.
Umpire in perfect position, mate.
Well, so were we, actually, in that camera view.
And Kudafidis with the finish. The Blues have got the last 4, but that 2-goal swing so pivotal in this third term. And Travis Cloak has to make amends now. He's got Whitnall alongside of him in the Collingwood attacking zone. French and Fanning. French. Kudafidis couldn't get boot to ball. A couple of sockers locking in the short sleeve jumper now as Bentic having a good night, and White at full stretch takes a beauty.
Got off to a good start, White.
And he's up quickly to centre it for Simpson, who read it well. And Carlton have started brilliantly in this third quarter. This could be 3 goals in 6 minutes.
Just dominated the centre clearances. The Blues a bit like the first quarter. And, well, that was telegraphed, unfortunately, for Matthew Locken. And a good interception. Jared White getting involved early. And a real chance for a bloke who has taken his game to a dramatically new high level over the last month.
For his second. Marching on now, the Blues. Clearances tallying 23-13 in favour of Carlton. They've got the last 5 goals of the match.
And that all started from young Bentic.
Yeah, she's doing well.
Who got the ball from the stoppage, got it on, Wait. And look, we spoke about half-time, the half-time break. It's the young players, it's the Bentics and the Cade Simpsons that are doing the job for the Blues. And also Wait, who's still young himself.
It's just the 30 games between Bentic and Simpson. And they're getting plenty of the clearances, but the polish of Simpson is the impressive part of his game. 5 straight to Carlton. Margin similar at 31 points, and they're away again. Stevens in some space. Clever kick off the outside of the boot. Wanted for Vola. Ball at ground level, Eddie Betts. Pinches it. Loves to kick him. Misses. Oh, the Carlton crowd, they love him. Because he makes things happen from nowhere inside his forward 50.
Brilliant kick from Nick Stevens.
I thought he was looking at the footy the whole time.
Off the outside of the boot, pushing it out to the right. Collingwood need a settler. They need a couple of players to stand up and win some footy.
Clement heading long, but waits in the best position for Carlton. Lockyer over the back. Betts. Back to Whitnell. Short pass, Bentic. Just the measured distance of 15 metres. Former captain of an under-18 premiership side. Hits it long.
Play on!
Having a great game is Shane Wakeman.
Been very good in game 200. Woden. Back to Clement. Holland. Trying to measure it up the wing to Lacuria. Rebounds it well, again off the outside of the boot, but this time he's just found some touch further up the line. Boundary throw in. 32 points. First 3 goals of the second half to the Blues. As Collingwood bench looks on.
Well, have a look at Travis Cloke about how he goes about his business for the next 15 or so minutes, and give us your assessment, because he's a kid with obviously great talent.
This is Fanning with the clearance, spills off the side of the boot. Simpson went at it. Locken's got it. 55 metres out, heads for home, got plenty of distance. Just the wrong side of the post for Matthew Locken in just his second game for the season. First game since round 13 against the Sydney Swans.
I'll definitely do that, Jared. One thing that he has to do is make sure that his work rate is up. He led for the kick out before and didn't quite get there, but he's got to make sure that that's what he continues to do. So I'll definitely watch him in this particular quarter.
Scotland's got loose men. Northern side of the ground, the skipper to Carazzo. Down the line, here's Fisher. Working hard to get to half forward. Can't quite take it on the bounce. Wait. Wiggins tied up. Going nowhere, a bounce.
Tackle.
Carlton with the last 11 marks of the match.
Thanks, Rigo. Good job, bud.
Umpire James getting it on quickly as the Blues bench watches on. Fanning the hit out. Ineffective, although Woden strips it from Lappin. O'Brien towards the wing. The bounce will be important here. It favours Collingwood's Holland. Now Maxwell chips it up cleverly in front of Travis Cloke. Just a little awkward. Morrison. Still a chance, Collingwood. Making hard work of it.
Carlton free kick. Carlton free kick.
It's Nathan Buckley behind the play. Through McGrath behind play to get a bit of space.
So 60 metres away, Buckley has given away a free.
Steve-O, Callum.
Actually interesting, we heard the instructions at half-time from Anthony Rocker saying that they were going to look for Travis Cloke. I reckon they're doing that at the expense of Buckley. And Bucks is the one who's going to finish the job for him.
Can Bendick finish the job here? No, he'll give it to Eddie Betts. And the Blues fans will rise again. Number 3 for Eddie. Carlton have got the last 6, including 4 in a glittering 10-minute burst at the start of the third term, and the margin is 37 points as a Magpie skipper fumes.
Yeah, it was a great goal by Eddie Betts, but Nathan Buckley continually talking to the umpire about exactly what happened.
What did happen?
Didn't quite see it. I think he tried to make a lead. I'm not sure whether he threw McGrath on the ground. He definitely made it look like he was thrown on the ground, hence the free kick paid at the other end. But you said watch Travis Cloke. What I didn't like about Travis Cloke is he had the ball, he tried to go for the ball one-handed. And want to have played a lot more footy and be doing a lot more than Travis at this early stage and going for it with one hand.
Drag him down.
It's all Carlton, and once again it's an infringement against Fanning on Barnaby French. This is looking dangerous for the Magpies now.
Play on.
French heading in the Fisher direction. Betts lurking. Stevens ahead of Prestigiacomo, just desperately trying to keep it in. He didn't. Presti did enough to drag him and the football over the boundary line. 37-point margin.
Straight at it, don't hold, boys.
Holland with his work cut out at the moment on Stevens, 19 disposals. Fanning and French. Bentic. Betts Morrison and Lockyer wrapping him up.
Well, the drive from Collingwood just hasn't appeared from the sheds at half-time, after half-time. It's all been Carlton. They haven't been able to get themselves going, Collingwood, because Carlton have just won all the takeaways. And here's another one.
Yep. Stevens measures it. Fisher, good spoil by O'Brien. Kept his feet. Scotland wheels onto that left. Doesn't like to miss the target too high. Wakeland with the spoil. And a strong one at that. Egan got a horrible bounce. And he's happy to see it over the line, and Jared Waite lets him know. Collingwood have had the last 8 tackles. That's because Carlton are getting those clearances and just getting their hands first on it. Barnaby French has been good as well.
No question. Egan just seems to overrun the ball too many times for my liking. He doesn't body line the ball. Saw on that occasion he had a free run at it, just tended to run over it a little bit.
At the back of the pack, Morrison, now Koutafidis. Scotland lifting in the third term, Carazzo. Can he control it? Yes. Wiggins. Blues dangerous. Chambers, Lappin under pressure. Kick off the side of the boot will land inside the field of play for a throw-in. All Carlton here in the third term as Thornton and Morrell watch on.
Good pressure by Collingwood then. They were under a little bit of pressure, able to put enough pressure on the Carlton boys to make sure it went out of bounds.
Koutafidis gets it out quickly. O'Brien takes it, finds an opening. Holland on the half volley. Morrison for Woden about to be caught. Good pressure, Carlton. Travis Cloak not having a quarter that he'll file away in the memory bank. Whitnell good. Betts has been terrific. Bounces to his feet. Sets up Stevens.
Nothing, bro. Back here, Brody. Let him go now.
Nick Stevens with 20 possessions. 15 marks to 2 here in the Premiership quarter. Stevens to centre half forward. Full stretch for Vola, couldn't hang on. This is Egan being held.
Andrew Walker wanted to argue.
And that's better. Body line the ball.
And Licuria peeling off from Camporelli to mark on the wing. Will have to reward the lead of the skipper, who was, well, 15 metres clear of McGrath. Will he go to Travis Cloak? No, it's a, well, awkward-looking kick towards Swan. And probably in the end the wrong option. Whitnell waxing it with Stevens. And he's got support. Now the Blues can go with Scotland.
It was hard running by Stevens because he was involved at the other end. He got back to help out quickly. And he's released Scotland into some space and no one coming towards him. Heads wide, beautiful kick.
He's had a difficult but a very good year for the Blues, Nick Stevens.
Walker, who's had a learning year, given some of the jobs he's had. Chambers. Half-forward flank now for Carlton. They've dominated this quarter. It's been a troublesome time for the Magpies, and the troubles are getting bigger as Fisher will go back and shoot from 30 metres out.
Well, we've seen the Blues the last couple of weeks, and it's been an impressive display. They lost last week, couldn't quite get across the line, but they were pretty gallant in going down to Port Adelaide. Tonight, you know, a bit quiet in the second term, but they have just come out in this third quarter as a mature team would, and they're playing well and truly above the youngsters that they've got out in the park.
It's something they've struggled with this year. They've only won 3 third quarters. They've usually come out after half-time and given it away. And Fisher in his 5th game back, he's had a couple of bags of 3. This for his first tonight, to be the 9th goal kicker. The crowd says it all. 5 goals in the third term to Carlton. The margin getting very much out of hand for Collingwood now. 43 points. And without Nathan Buckley getting hold of the footy, it's going to come from no one else.
Well, that's a disappointing thing. That Collingwood have given us 20 minutes of hard work, and it would appear as if that's all we're going to get for the night. And against this Carlton side, who are hungry for a victory, it could end up an embarrassing scoreline.
Did you tear that ticket up?
I didn't know, with the emus out packing for it at the moment. Fell out of the pocket.
Mick Malthouse and the crowded box with some work to do.
Could you see Brett Thornton, who we spoke to, and he told us that he was a midfielder. Could you see him out in the middle just as an experiment, Mike?
Brett Thornton. Hasn't played a lot in the midfield.
Not at this level he hasn't. As a junior he did.
Okay, well, I'm not sure that will be used at this stage. On top through the midfield. So
they are destroying Collingwood from the centre clearances. Shaw just bangs it out of the danger zone, but Carlton have got numbers and Bentek's juggling an impressive mark. Oh, what a night he's having. Perhaps the best in his AFL career. His 12th senior game this evening, the 20-year-old. And he's going long to the hot spot. Can they get another mark? Jason Cloke with a spoil, whistle for a free. It's Collingwood's way.
Had an interrupted year, Brett Thornton.
Yeah.
We know that he's come back just recently from a calf tear. Only been back for a couple of weeks, so very interrupted. Playing on a very good player early too.
Favola over the shoulder of Wakeland, who turned 31 yesterday. Game number 200 tonight. At the moment, his team in some trouble. Lucuria going long to half forward for Burns, and Buckley at the back, and in the end Whitnell in the middle takes it and kicks cleverly to the wing, and White dives and takes the mark. Carlton with the last 7 goals of the match. If they win tonight, it will get them off the bottom of the ladder. It would relegate Hawthorn to that position pending their game tomorrow. And the Blues continue to build with seemingly little resistance right now from the Magpies. Favola, well, Wakeland's there. He's provided some resistance. Eddie Betts somehow keeps it in. Across the face, and Jason Cloke takes the mark.
Cloke. To Davis. Kicking long. Wanted Woden. Just slid into it. And they're still not out of trouble here, Carlton. Now Stevens comes in to lend a hand. Lappin. Wanted Fisher or perhaps Favola at the back. Cloke again. Holland. Back through the middle. Gee. Turned it over. Scotland gave it over. It ended up with Wiggins. Wiggins into some space. Favola for number 3. Doesn't quite make the distance. Not sure what Eddie Betts was doing. It's a push. It'll be a Collingwood free kick.
Brendan really didn't understand. He had a hell of a lot more time than he perceived. He threw it onto the boot, but it was coming from a pretty frantic passage of play, and it's easy to understand.
Prestigiacomo just inside his defensive 50. Spotting up Shaw. Not a lot to kick to. Maxwell provides the lead for him, but he takes the shorter option. And Clement. Just a lack of a genuine centre-half forward as a post to kick it to, so they can get some crummers around the ball. So forced to a pretty skinny option in Jason Cloke running towards the boundary.
Well, we did say at the top of the show that they've been decimated by injuries in their forward line, and we said Nathan Buckley, Travis Cloke would have to take a bigger role. He's played a lot on the bench. He's now back on the bench, and Nathan Buckley stuck at full forward.
And just 2 possessions for Travis Cloke as Bentek feeds Carazzo. Important ball at midfield. Great pick up Wiggins. Good tackle O'Brien. Support by Chambers. And he could go all the way here. He backs himself. Closes to 50. Lines them up. Goes long. What a goal! Carlton have kept the last 8. Callum Chambers with 1 to remember. And they're now double the Magpies score time on 3rd quarter.
Well, you can only salute the young Carlton players. They've had a very tough year. They've worked really hard over the last month, and they're getting some reward. Last week against the Port Adelaide, as we said, they did everything bar win the game, and it was probably the rain that cost them when the bigger bodies were able to impact, and the skinny Carlton bodies just couldn't quite compete in the wet. But tonight, perfect conditions. They've run their guts out. They were challenged in the 2nd quarter. They fought back late in the 2nd term to take a handy lead into half-time. And tonight, at 3-quarter time, they're going to go in as winners.
Carlton fans right around the country watching this live and exclusive on Fox Footy, enjoying this. 49 points. They're looking to avoid the wooden spoon. It's got to come back, as you could hear.
And this will propel Collingwood into the wooden spoon hunt. Matt, with just the 5 wins, Carlton will be half a game behind. The Hawks 1 game behind them. Excitement at both ends of the ladder.
Let's go, Brody.
And right at the bottom of that 8. That is really tightening up. But we're with Collingwood moving forward. Fanning was there, but McGrath did enough. Now, Chambers gave it to Camporelli. Over the top, Koutafidis. What a game by Adam Bentic. Easily his best game.
Play on.
Almost for Fisher. Holland crumbing. Clement just trying to bullet through. Did enough to get it forward just to Bentic. He's heading for a 30-possession game. That's 25. 2-on-1. Cloak just with the rush behind for a point. And that makes the margin a clean 50. 15-9 to 7-7 for Bowler takes a spell. Has kicked 2 goals tonight to take his season tally to 49. Shaw.
Kick it now. Play on.
With 5.5 minutes remaining in this third term. Collingwood still yet to kick a goal. Wakeland. It's been Buckley good at one end and Wakeland good at the other. And here is Buckley. Just trying to keep it in, but not successful. And not happy again.
Thanks, Dave.
Well, from that angle, from that position, looked like he had a case to argue. He's back. He's with the footy. And he's hitting it long, but it's Whitnell in the best spot. And he's got it. 2-on-1 situation against Davis, who was always going to win.
Yeah, Fred Fanning was just seconds behind Whitnell there in reading the play. He's just got to get better. Look at the tapes, look at heaps of footy over summer, and read the play.
Simpson to McGrath, who's read this one well. Delivers wide. Stevens hoping it would bounce past Clement. It did not. Boundary throw in. Inside of 5 minutes remaining, quarter number 3. Matthew Locken's behind. Collingwood's only score in the quarter, where they've been smashed out of the middle. Weight of possessions there going Carlton's way. Marks as well. The Blues have dominated. And the Collingwood defence about to be under some more pressure if T can get it here. He can't. Maxwell hurriedly to Lucuria and Camporelli. Boundary throw in on the wing.
Good contest. Good contest.
Another look at that good contest. Camporelli slapping it over the line for a throw in.
Been a good battle all night.
Free kick for some holding. It will go Carlton's way.
You've got him over the head. Play on.
Bentic winning the free. Feeds it by hand to Scotland. Burns was unhappy with the decision. Morrell has to wait. Stands his ground well. Gee, not paid the mark. Waite recovers regardless. Goes to Betts.
Broad. Hey.
He squares it up. They are just all over Collingwood right now. This is Chris Bryant, who can bomb it long.
Thanks, mate.
Hits the hot spot. Big fly from Morrell. Nice mark. Will kick another one, and it's getting embarrassing for the black and whites.
Well, you just wouldn't have seen this coming at half-time. Collingwood went into the half-time break having worked really hard, and it looks as if they only had enough petrol in the tank for 25 minutes of hard work, because it's been Carlton that's shown them the way. They've been solid all night, worked hard, and they're going to enjoy the spoils.
Another look at Digby Morrell getting off the ground and hanging on to the footy.
It's been a rough road this year for Digby.
Yep.
He's had a good season at the Bull Ants and got back in last week. So good to see him take a couple of catches and kick a goal.
5 weeks in a row now, Blues have crossed the century mark by way of scoring. And this has just been an avalanche in the third quarter. 7 goals to none. Marry that up with the last 2 goals of the second quarter. They've kicked 9 in a row.
7 goals in this quarter, 7 individuals, now 11 goal kickers. It's right across the board, the Blues. Their best third term for 2005, and Collingwood looking at their worst.
And it's their on-ball brigade doing the damage. Bentic, Stevens, Scotland, all getting plenty of it.
Looks like Jason Cloak's having a crack at the ruck.
He's coming up against Chris Bryant with 3.5 minutes remaining in the third term. 56-point margin. Kuda with the clearance. Again, Carlton too easy out of the middle. Wakeland couldn't take it on the second go, but got the quick hands with the reflex to Woden in turn O'Brien. Burns swamped. Lappin coming in. Chambers goes backwards. Gets a free kick. Advantage paid to Bentic. Heads for home. Top of the square. Oh, Wakeland, terrific mark.
Big game.
Great game in game 200.
Been let down by a few of his teammates who haven't worked anywhere near as hard as he has after half-time.
This is Heath Shaw heading towards the wing. Davis, the target, right with him. So Davis works him away from the football.
Yeah, me.
Inside the 450, good mark. Yes, paid to Maxwell. Strong take. Got a free kick as well. No one in the goal square.
TJ, go to him.
Short pass. Wanted Burns, pushing it back, surely.
Just 2 actions, mate.
Bentic's had a great game.
Just that first one, then he went for the ball. Burnsy, thanks, mate.
Well, obviously Bentic still mate at the moment with the umpires. Haven't worked out who he is in game number 12. But he's had enough disposal tonight. They may have a look at the tape and say, we've got to better remember this guy's name.
Doesn't augur well for his Brownlow chances tonight, does it?
No, but...
Just here, Andrew Dimitri. 1 vote, mate.
But back with Scott Burns. Collingwood have not kicked a goal in this quarter. And it remains so.
Braden Shaw this week became the first casualty of Collingwood's horrible season when he learned, even though he hasn't played a senior game, that he has been delisted. Shane Wakeland told me on White Line Fever he expects up to 6, maybe more, changes at Collingwood. Some players here are playing for their futures at the club and might not be doing themselves a great service. That's a wonderful mark from Teague in front of Swap.
Yes, it's always one of those ones that coaches talk about, Clinton, but I'm not sure 2 hours in round 20 is going to determine anybody's future. Coaches, Wayne, I reckon, would have already assessed who's staying, who's going to be part of the new Collingwood. And that's what it is going to be. It's the new Collingwood. Who can take them forward?
Walker on the wing, working to 2 minutes remaining in the third quarter. All Carlton here. And Walker now to the centre corridor. Had to be precise. It was a fraction astray, and Leon Davis can make them pay. He's going to carry it to within 30 and kick a goal. And Magpie fans say hallelujah. A run of 9 straight Carlton goals snaps, but the margin remains a daunting 49 points.
Not too many players running to Leon Davis. Even the skipper walking up the middle of the ground, despondent, knowing that obviously this game is over.
And I think it's one of the great examples as to why a 30-round season sounds good because it sounds even. But if you were Collingwood and you had another 12 rounds to go, another, what are we up to, another 10 rounds to go, the spirit's gone out of the club. They've got to work really hard to get themselves up. Same with Carlton. They don't want another 10 rounds of football.
No.
I'm happy with 15, but that's another argument for your program, Jared.
Sounds good to me, Matt.
Brian.
More finals, less home and away.
That's it. Cloak around the corner. Woden with pace, but went without the footy. Whitnell sharing with Camporelli. Glut of possession for Carlton, and Carrazzo, that's untidy. Perhaps another error. Well, they got it back. McGrath. 2-on-1 Carlton. They worked it out nicely. Waite trying to draw the player over the top. Still 2-on-1. Holland did okay, but the numbers went out. Scotland to the top of the square. At the back, Fisher, strong mark. Jason Cloak having a dip in this third term.
That's right.
Short to Burns.
Hi, up.
Davies. Started very well in the first couple of minutes, had a couple of possessions, but hasn't seen a lot of it since.
On.
Burns over the top. This is Clement slicing up. Holland's found space. Buckley wants it at the top of the 50-metre line. No one in the goal square. Holland heads for home. Lockyer, yes, off the ground. Collingwood get 2 in a row. And with less than a minute to go before three-quarter time, they give the Magpie Army something to cheer about going into the break.
Well, just reward for a bit of running there from a couple of individuals. Scotty Burns gets it to Clement, who hasn't spent enough time, in my view, up the middle of the ground. He's been so busy trying to hold back the tide that he hasn't been able to impact with his great disposal. But that time he did push forward. And Tarkin Lockyer was the one running into space. Plenty of space when Buckley's in the goal square because he's a long leader. He goes early. And he took advantage of it. It looks like he's pushing up into the middle now.
27 ticks on the clock remaining before three-quarter time. There is Buckley heading now to the defensive 50-metre arc. Barking out some instructions. Time for a clearance and a chance either way. Davies, Davis can't afford a bounce. He flicks it for Davies. He's caught high. Will the clock stop? It will.
Relax, thank you.
So time for a late one and 3 in a row. There's the contact. Davies is going to go deep, hoping for Locken. He might get a chance. 6 seconds to go. Tight angle across the face. Can Lockyer mark? No. Siren might beat them. Off the ground, creative effort. Carlton concede a behind on the siren. Three-quarter time, and the premiership term belonged to the Blues. They kicked 7 goals to Collingwood's 2 goals 3, and they lead by a commanding 7 goals at the last change.
And it really belonged to Adam Bentic, who really has stamped himself as a player in the last 3 or 4 weeks. 29 possessions to three-quarter time. That's a great performance. Nick Stevens has also led well with 25 possessions. But right through the Carlton lineup, there are positives everywhere. And well done to the Carlton footy team, because they've come here. They're just desperate for the 4 points. They're going to get them. It's a question of how far.
No doubt about that, Jared. That was all about Carlton. Adam Bentic, what a story. And what I like about him, he's winning possessions through the middle of the field, contested possessions, not only possessions out on the wing, but getting the hard ball, getting the ball out, been very impressive. You're right, they've got a lot to look forward to. On the other hand, Collingwood got a lot to play for in this quarter. Bit of pride. They won't want to go down the way that quarter went. They'll want to come out fighting in this last quarter.
The margin is 7 goals with a quarter remaining in the Peter McCallum Cup match. Carlton, the title holders, have won it 8 times to the Magpies 4. Dennis Pagan said people who understand the competitive nature of sport would have to be half wacko to think they wouldn't be trying tonight. They don't want a second wooden spoon, and they're doing well here to ensure that they will avoid it. It would take something special from the Magpies to get back in this. Carlton by 7 goals with a quarter remaining here on Fox Footy. 16-9 playing 9-9. 42 points is Carlton's lead with a quarter remaining. Betts with 3 goals. Simpson, Favola and Koutafidis all with 2. Adam Bentic, the star, 29 possessions. Buckley with 3 goals for the Magpies. Talking tactics now with Wayne Schwass.
Well, it's a bit of the old and the new for Carlton in what has been a difficult season and trying season for them. Anthony Koutafidis set the tone for his younger charges during that third term. He wound the clock back, Anthony Koutafidis, who was winning clearances, got forward and kicked himself a goal. But look, more importantly, the story is the young players for Carlton. We've watched them in the last couple of weeks. Cade Simpson's been terrific, but this man on screen, number 40, while the rate is going, he's got 29 touches to three-quarter time. He's a big chance to get 40 by the end of this game. Terrific story, Adam Bentic, 29 touches, as I said, but more importantly, 15 of them contested.
Thanks, Wayne Schwass. Collingwood assistant coach Gavin Brown talking to Gerard Healy.
Gavin, you obviously drew the short straw having to talk to us after that quarter, but finding some positives. We thought Harry O'Brien across the half-back and Shane Wakeland both having good games.
Yeah, look, they've both been terrific. Good for Wakes in his 200th, but yeah, you're right, been a little bit disappointing, so hopefully this quarter we can turn things around a little bit.
Couldn't see it coming. The effort in the second quarter was, well, it was fantastic, and yet you would not be proud if you're a Collingwood supporter after that 30 minutes.
No, look, you're right. It was. It's been very disappointing. Probably our manning up accountability and you know, trying to win the footy at the stoppages has been very disappointing. So, look, as I said, hopefully this quarter we can have a bit of a crack at it.
Thanks, Gavin.
Thank you. Gavin
Brown, Collingwood assistant coach, appreciating his time here on Fox Footy as the final term underway with Carlton working it towards half forward. Awkward bounce, but a good trap for Simpson. And now Stevens. And the Blues continue to run as Morrell knocking it down. Eddie Betts giving it to space. Favola's a chance. Can he get boot to ball? Eddie Betts lurking. He wants another one. Has he got it? No! Into the post. Boundary side, here's Tiff.
Still good news for both sides. No injuries, but a lot of tired limbs in Collingwood. A number of their senior players getting massages. The word from Dennis Pagan, just run them ragged.
Much talk down there, Tiff, from the Magpies?
No, not a lot of talk at all. In fact, Mick Malthouse spending a lot of time on his board.
Thank you.
Burns with the margin, 43 points.
Buckley with some strength, getting rid of McGrath. Now just trying to release Lacuria. Throws it on the boot quickly, but numbers favour Carlton.
It's been good, Lance Whitnell again.
Yep.
Centre half back, working the angles, had plenty of it.
Working an angle for him is Bryan over the top with a big grab.
Pay it, umpire.
Refused to. Walker. Maybe they could turn our mics on. Egan, did he keep that in?
Are you suggesting a role swap for this last quarter? Because they've been good on the special comments out there.
I'm not running around anywhere, but let's take a look.
Well, here it is.
Oh,
Did enough for mine.
yeah, could have paid that in if it wasn't.
Oh, Mark Andor.
Andor, exactly.
What number is Andor? Cloak. He's having to do it as a ruckman at the moment. Burns to Holland. Out in front. Good kick. Maxwell on the stretch. And they must move it quickly. Maxwell.
Space.
And he's got him. Turn McGrath inside out. Maxwell waited for him to head to the space and spots him up, and Bucks will line up for goal number 4.
That's a disadvantage of playing in front like McGrath did then. He was trying to hedge his bets, realising that Buckley, being as explosive as he is, hedged his bets. Buckley called it long, and a very good kick to space. Uncontested mark in the forward 50.
He's a player, Maxwell. Just he knows how to read the ball. He's going to be one of those valuable players that can play as the third tall or step up and be the centre half.
And forward and back. We've seen it both tonight, forward and back.
Buckley splits the middle, goal number 4. And the margin gets back to 37 points. They kicked the last 2 before three-quarter time.
Be scary, Buckley, in front of a reasonable midfield, because he just knows how to play this position. He just reads the ball so well, and with delivery, he's going to be hard to stop, as McGrath just found out.
So Collingwood with a run of 3 unanswered goals. Can they squeeze out a couple of more to put a semblance of pressure on the Blues? 3 minutes gone, final term, 17:42 remaining, and Jason Cloak will run at Bryan and knock it down, and Davies will take it. Stevens, good tackle. Holland is tied up.
Play on.
Here's Bryan for Bentic. Oh, he's got quick hands, hasn't he? Koutafidis towards Chambers. Is he off?
Round.
Too far out to score. White provides one lead. He goes to Fisher. Good kick.
That's a great mark from Chambers. He's struggled with injury at Carlton since he's been recruited, but the last couple of weeks he's shown plenty of positives.
And good disposal for Brad Fisher, who can look to kick his second. One of those finds in the draft out of the Eastern Rangers, pick number 72 back in 2002. Trying to extend that margin back to 43 points. Hooks the kick, never a chance. And Duck will be called back to Optus Oval this week to work on the goal kick. Although that's right, you don't claim them when
they miss.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when. Ben on 3 metres.
Got him before you, Clinton.
Play on.
Clement, well, taking himself. Now he's hooked at. Bryant come through with a big double punch, but Davies read it. High ball, Lappin in best position, easily got rid of Woden. Lappin thought about Simpson through the middle. Now Favola leads to the pocket, Fisher there as well. 3 big tools for Carlton. Wakeland over the back. This time no bets in the area as Presta Giacomo dribbles up the line. 3 numbers there for Collingwood. Shaw backs himself, but it's all Lance Whitnell for Carlton. He's going to get a terrible bounce. Well, a little bit of basketball work through the legs, and he's happy to see it over.
Well done, you boat.
107 plays 69. Shane O'Brien summing up how he's feeling. Big Chris Bryan, coming over the top was Walker. Burns Wrapped up by Koutafidis.
Line. No, Pryor. Good tackle. Gonna come out the back,
Collingwood's
guys.
nice, sort of like the guy controlling the advertising hoardings there, and he's going to have to restart.
This is Whitnell again.
Good tackle.
Maxwell got rid of him. Davis just went without it, but he goes back for a second effort. 70 metres from goal.
Yep.
On the left, out in front of Buckley. He's got to beat two, and he's got to beat an oval ball that won't sit for him. McGrath, Camporelli, breaking for him. Chambers. Now it's an open forward line. Carlton needs a hard runner, and they get one in Stevens. Up goes Morrell through the middle. Lost Wakeland for a second. Strong hands.
Shane a metre. Shane. Thank you.
Favola.
Chrissy.
Led into space, turned around.
Thanks, mate.
Morrell wants Fisher. He's coming, but Bryan stands in the way and takes the mark 40 metres from goal.
Thanks, Heath. There, Coggy. Yep.
Game number 10 for Chris Bryan. He's kicked 4 goals, 1
Jump out, Ed.
in his short career.
Thanks, Cooter.
Saw his first game playing the Sydney Swans at Telstra Dome, and it was a great first game. Kicked the ball a mile, kicked some goals, rucked well, and just there and then you could see that Carlton have got a long-term prospect.
Does kick the ball a long way. Runs inside his forward 50. Drop looks pretty good. He's celebrating already. Goal number 5 for Chris Bryan, and Carlton just break that mini run of goals that Collingwood had going after 3 straight, and they get the margin back to 44 points.
Next couple of weeks, Wayne, are going to be pretty important for Collingwood. It's almost impossible to generate that spirit in the pre-season, which kickstarts you next year if you just fall apart the previous season.
No question about that, Jared. We've seen them at different times this year. We're at the game where Fremantle give them an almighty flogging at Subiaco. They fought back from that. They had a good 6 weeks. And look, that's what happens when you've got young kids. They have had a lot of injuries this year. Coaches don't like to admit it. Clubs don't like to admit it. But had a lot of injuries. And this is a good lesson for the young boys. And to be honest, there's only one option for them. They have to fight back over the next couple of weeks and put in 2 good efforts before the year ends.
Who's got the better outlook with their lists right now, Carlton or Collingwood?
I think they could both look at some of their young guys over the last few weeks and be pretty pleased. I wouldn't like to call. I'm not close enough to Collingwood to make that sort of comment.
Magpies getting a free kick.
He didn't make contact.
I know one thing, Clinton, you'd be just happier at Carlton over the summer because, I mean, they look as if they're
finished on an upswing.
They're on the up. And we know that Collingwood's got a lot of injured players, a lot of really good injured players. Josh Fraser, Anthony Rocket, Guy Richards, 3 big tools to go in for starters. And they're going to put a totally different forward line out. But, you know, they need some of their young guys to show the desperation and the spirit over this next couple of weeks.
Favola with 2 grabs, not the 3rd. Fisher tied up by O'Brien. Still Brendan goes. And the soccer off the ground is out on the full.
Yep. Play on.
And I reckon Harry has been one of their best. Harry O'Brien is just showing that he wants to be an AFL footballer for this club.
Well, he does a job. He's been disciplined, arm across. Even though Fisher's shown a little bit.
Been a good battle.
You couldn't blame O'Brien.
Oh, everyone stopped. It's play on, guys. Good heavens above. Bentic kicks to White and will have a shot at goal.
Well done, mate. You're still getting kicks, mate.
Yeah, just an air of confusion. Scott Burns.
Well, you should always play to the whistle. There was none.
And Jared Waite's got the footy.
Was Whistle the guy back on the mark? No.
There you hear the explanation from Matthew James. Everyone stopped on that whistle, and as he says, all he did was whistle the guy back on the mark. And now Waite is lining up for his second from the 50. The kick is fading late for all 1 behind.
Wait.
Not a memorable night for a 200th for Burns or the man with the footy, Wakeland.
His target is Shaw, just a little juggle. And then just a messy handball to Davies. Youngsters turning it over. Bentic got it to Koutafidis. Kouta back to Bentic. He's missed him. Teague arrives, the cavalry. Hitting it long. O'Brien. Oh, well done, Harry. And he's away.
I think they've found a player here, without a doubt.
Measures the pass beautifully. And he's split open the Carlton defence as Cloak drives it long, wanting Buckley. McGrath with a bit of show and tell. And it's going back the outer side. Stevens through the middle, 3 to pick from. One of them is Carazzo.
Nathan Buckley wasn't too happy about that kick from Travis Cloak. Didn't put a lot of thought into it, just kicked it as long as he could. Got a few words from the skipper.
Chambers wanting Koutafidis on the lead, Morrison with him. Ball spills over the back towards Morrison, who left it for Egan. Davies. Burns running through the middle. Buckley. Now it's a very open forward line. Just one player inside the forward 50, and that is Lockyer.
Good grab.
And that is the man that's got it. A switch there, and Lockyer. No one in the goal square.
Thank you.
I reckon we saw there the value of just giving the first option. I reckon Collingwood have got 2 or 3 players in their forward line who look for the first option, then see if they can kick a goal, and then gives the second option if the first option gets closed down on.
Yeah, that's cool. Just don't jump over, right?
And that time it was just experienced players. Burns honoured Buckley, Buckley honoured Lockyer, and away they went.
Lockyer 1 goal 1 tonight. It's pretty good off the boot, but it's just holding its line. He kicks his second.
And there's no doubt Mick Malthouse at 3/4 time would have said that we need a better effort in this last quarter, and they've given us that for the first 5 or so minutes of this last quarter.
Disposal highs for Collingwood. Wakeland 19, we spoke about him. Buckley 18. Leon Davis 19 disposals. Have you seen his game?
Yeah, look, I think he's tried hard, Leon, and be fair to say that a lot of people think he can just play in the forward line, but he's come up into the midfield, got a little bit of the ball. They need guys like Leon to have big pre-seasons and be able to come up onto the ball and be dangerous through the midfield, because he's got the speed, and that's what they need.
Carlton are winning every statistical category, and most of them easily. Koutafidis with another clearance. Kick inside the 50, ricochets wide. Morrell clever. Knocked it back for Simpson. Has time to steady, size up the options, go to the hot spot. Almost fall for Bowler. Ball skittles through for a behind.
And Matthew Lappin, he was manhandled and he looked to the umpire for some relief, but none coming.
Margin 40 points. Lappin with 11 possessions, 6 of them contested ball 1 tonight.
Matthew Lappin staying at the Blues, won't?
I don't do the contracts down there, Jared, but I hope he does. He's been a terrific player for the Blues. Let's hope both Matty and also Lance stay at the Blues. Can't afford to lose quality players such as those two.
McGrath running, delivering to White at full stretch, couldn't hang on. Clement.
Well done, White.
For Morrison, halfway through the final term, Brodie Holland going short. Travis Cloak taking the mark, and now the Magpies can look to build.
Cloak going right across the ground looking for Davies, and Carlton gets some numbers back. One of them is Bentick. Burns doing well for Collingwood, just trying to hold it in the area. Has done so.
That's a classic example of what I was saying. Yeah, Chad Morrison run past Travis Cloak. He could have honoured the handball, and then Paul goes charging into Buckley or Lockyer in the goal square. But he elected to go back, take the kick, slow down, and kicked it to Davies, who was one out. Now, Davies, we haven't seen him take an overhead mark in his career yet. I'm not sure why you go for that option.
He was onto it there, but it was smothered by Walker, who heads forward. O'Brien will see it over. Let's talk tactics with Wayne Schwaltz.
Well, we've already talked about the young players tonight for Carlton, Betts, Bentick and Simpson, but let's throw another one in there who's, as Jared said, a terrific debut against the Swans at this particular ground. Telstra Dome a little while ago. Chris Bryant at 197 centimetres. He'll be a good young protege for Barnaby French, who's sitting on the bench at the moment. They're names to look forward to for Carlton's future.
Holland drives it long to Lockyer, who just sees Egan strolling past to Buckley. Collingwood fans looking for in the back. Camporelli wears one in the midriff and does well, shoulders, arms, and gets it free over to Walker, who can really go here. He's on centre wing and he's still running. Favola heads straight up the middle of the ground. He goes in that direction. Burns at the back, takes a strong mark, and the numbers went out for the Pies.
Gives off to a young man he played cricket with there in South Australia in rep teams. And tonight they share the 200-game milestone. Wakeland to Clement to half forward. Camporelli couldn't hang on. High one. Camporelli the free.
How have you seen Corey McGrath and Nathan Buckley?
I think he's done pretty well. I think he's closed him down a couple of times. Although the supply in the Bucks hasn't been as good as it was in that second term.
Yeah, no question about that. But he has stemmed the tide, hasn't he?
Yep.
Scotland and Burns and the former teammates there. Burns winning out. Handball to Davies. Nearly runs himself into a spot of bother. Morrison, he does. He turns it over. Waite the steal from 50. Unguarded. Goal square. He bounces it home. He gets his second. Carlton march to a 46-point lead. They're rubbing their nose in it now.
Well, there hasn't been much to cheer about for the Blues this year. And you saw then when Jared Waite kicked that goal, he was pretty happy, and good to see the Carlton boys celebrating what is going to be a very good win for the Blues. Yeah. They'll enjoy this tonight.
The crowd, 48,287, the smallest for a match between these two clubs in 5 years, and the worst at this ground for a long, long time.
Well, it's 14th versus 16th.
You look at that and you say, well, it's still a good crowd.
Now, Jared Waite, 34 goals for the season. Bags of 2, 2, 3, 4 and 2 over the last 5 weeks. He is a talent.
Play on! Knock it out! Well
Bryan
done.
on hands and knees, but it was stolen by Davies. Forward, there's a push there from Camporelli. Lockyer should get the free. Well, there's a pushing from everyone. And it is Lockyer's free.
Straight back, yeah, tackle Lockyer's. It's that one, mate, it's that, and then you've gone up, okay?
That seems to be pretty clear. And he's going to line up for goal number 3.
A metre, mate. A metre up.
Yeah, well, that free kick was there, looking at the replay.
For his second of the quarter, just inside 50, pretty much straight in front. He's always been a good kick, and he got the distance right that time. Used to be the designated kicker coming out of full back because he could find the target, and he's now played 32 straight since coming back from that serious injury, and 3 goals tonight.
Well, not a bad effort starting in the forward line, basically half forward pocket, kick 3 goals, you've done your job. And the ball hasn't been coming up there with too much fluency over the last half. So you'd be pretty happy with his output.
40 points the margin as Collingwood plummet to their 6th consecutive defeat, while Carlton's late season rally continues. They've got the Bombers here next Sunday. Morrison to Burns. Collingwood a daunting trip to Amy Stadium to play the Crows. Shaw for Morrison. Lockyer had it knocked away illegally by Camporelli.
You know, when you're the footy, Scotty. Hit the ball! I reckon you didn't. I don't reckon you're anywhere near the footy. You have a look at it and you tell me.
Okay. We'll get Scotty to check the tape during the week and have a chat with the school teacher, Ray Chamberlain. As Egan flies in the pocket, knocks it to space. Well done. Buckley off a step. Hooks the kick as he tried to get number 5 behind.
So just, I don't want to be flippant there, but how's Scotty supposed to look at it and tell him? Is he supposed to look up on the big scoreboard?
He'll have a look at the replay. Let's see if he touched the footy.
I think he's got a case.
Got a case, Ray?
Yep.
He'll be ringing you.
Yep.
Where's Ray Teach?
He's a PE coordinator. Remember on 3AW the other fortnight, one of the parents told Rex about Ray's background.
Okay.
We won't reveal the location of the school. There he is.
I reckon some of the kids on Monday will be telling Ray, particularly the Carlton supporters. Ray, you got that one wrong, old fella.
That'll do, play on!
Well, this is Koutafidis to McGrath.
Mr. Chamberlain, wouldn't it?
In fact, what he'd say is, Mr. Chamberlain, King Carey said you got that wrong.
Said you were wrong.
Play on!
A long kick by McGrath. I saw it was 2-on-1. It's a clever kick, but Betts just couldn't quite get there. And Lucuria does well to keep it in. That's clever play. Morrison got it from Lockyer. Didn't give it to Buckley. They've still got hold of it, though. Lockyer's lining up for goal number 4. It's a good finish, and he got it. Well, Morrison made it hard, but Lockyer's finishing skills have let it go through. 4 goals to Buckley, 4 goals now to Tuck and Lockyer. And that's a very good return. And Collingwood getting plenty of the ball late in this game. We know the game is winding down, but they're making it look much more respectable as far as the contest goes.
I'm a big Tuck and Lockyer fan, Wayne. I reckon he just has got what it takes. He's a player you'd like to play footy with.
Well, he's one of the team leaders at Collingwood, and he's going to be one of the guys, along with Nathan Buckley, Lucuria, a few others, Wakeland, that have to make sure that the Collingwood Footy Club finish off these last couple of weeks in a good fashion.
Well, they're finishing this game off well. 6 of the last 8 goals, but the horse had bolted, and they're even going to get a centre clearance. Holland to Burns, long inside the 50. A wrestle, and Maxwell, impressive. Doubles back, takes the mark. Right on the edge of his limit at the 50.
I'm just giving you room.
Kicked a goal in the second term, did Nick Maxwell.
Thanks, Nick. That's your line.
Saw him in the Wizard Cup
okay,
play up in Darwin, and I think it was across the half-back flank, and he just looked then to be a player capable of being a 10-year AFL footballer. And what we've seen through the season suggests that that early form may prove correct.
Originally out of St Joe's via the Geelong Falcons, North Ballarat and the VFL, Williamstown, rookie list elevation, getting elevation on that kick and putting it through for another Magpie goal. They've got 7 of the last 9, and with 5 minutes to go, they trail by 27 points.
And just being able to kick a goal from that distance, Wayne, is a real asset for a forward.
It is, and well, he showed, Jared, we've spoken about him already today. He showed that he's got a lot of potential. Let's hope he can turn it into some real form over the next couple of weeks, and then also into next year.
2 goals to Maxwell, and 5 minutes remaining in this.
Ugly word, potential, in football.
Big fixture. Round 20, Heritage round.
I'm sure they said it about you once in Wagga, Wayne. This kid's got potential.
In fact, I heard a couple of Sydney Swans recruiters once say, we've got a couple of kids down at Wagga that have got plenty of potential. Ended up at the Kangaroos.
Yeah.
Oh, the North Adelaide under-15s in the Sandboy Cup, he was supreme.
Sandboy Cup.
There you go, there's one for you. Woden got it out to Holland.
Is that the potato chip?
That's the one, that's the one. Well done.
Whatever happened to them?
I don't know, but it was a travesty because
Sandboy, they're still around.
they made the best barbecue chips.
They're still around.
They are they?
I love the chicken.
Well, you were dominating, so you've probably still got some free packets at home. Used by date arriving fast.
Tell you what, it's a sad reflection on this contest when you're going with the Sandboys.
Let's get back to Carazzo kicking it for Carlton, but Woden takes a good mark. 27 points is the margin, and Collingwood still surging forward. Davies back through the middle, Shaw. Little bit of room, just closed up.
Buckley still leading, still working. Can he climb high?
He's got to get over the top. He did, he still got it. Oh, no prior opportunity there.
Good decision.
And the umpire being told it was a good decision.
The other player that we've forgotten about, not a lot gets spoken, Reece Shaw. He was in great form before he got injured. He was winning a lot of the ball through the midfield, gives him a lot of speed. And yeah, he's just a guy that has been a little forgotten. He'll be a big inclusion again next year.
He'll be leading their BNF until he got injured.
Yeah.
Davis for the impossible. Too far, out of bounds on the full. It'll be a Carlton kick inside the last 4 minutes.
Margin 27 points as the Blues look to clear to Fisher. O'Brien's been good tonight. A beacon for the Magpies, kicking to the goal square, and Barnaby French with a metre to spare. He's been the key man by way of hit-outs with 22 of Carlton's 41. Collingwood as a team with 22 hit-outs. A shade over 3 minutes remaining. Dinkywood will kick over the top by French. And now McGrath can go. Drives it wide to the southern wing. Prestigiacomo and Favola have been a good duel tonight. Brendan finishing with 2 first-half goals, it would appear, so Presti will take the honours. But there's been plenty of other stars in that Carlton forward line. 12 goal kickers in all. Throw in on the wing.
Play on you two.
Ruckman make it ugly for one another as Scotland to Koutafidis, to Chambers. Impressive build-up. Lappin loads it up, goes deep. Oh, spectacular stuff. And Brian thought about playing on. We'll go back and make it a certain thing.
And was that a good mark? He was out of the contest.
He was gone.
He was out of the contest, Wakeland. And Wakeland's looking up at the scoreboard now thinking, what happened?
Just here, Wakes.
It was a terrific mark running with the flight.
And what a journey he's had to make it to the AFL. Kicks his second goal for the last quarter. Played with the Sandringham Dragons, then Sandringham in the VFL, overlooked in the national draft of 2000. Went to play with Keysborough in the Mornington Peninsula League, then at Frankston, and now getting a call-up, and here at 23 in his first year. Impressing against the old rival.
There's a word that gets thrown around a fair bit, and that's a journeyman. And I guess he is a true journeyman.
Well, he is a journeyman in the lower ranks, but I tell you what, if he keeps on taking grabs like that, he won't be called a journeyman for too long. He may not be quite tall enough for the ruck, but just as a player up in that forward line, he's got mobility. He can play up on the half forward line, and he can play deep.
197 centimetres, Chris Bryant.
2 goals. Morrison trying to get Davies to move it forward, stepping nicely. Stevens, 31 disposals for him. Carazzo sliding it wider to Scotland, who can go. Does kick it a long way. He's going to need to kick it all of 60. Brian's there again. Fisher spoiled him. Here's Lappin. Got a bit of time. Did he bend it back enough? No, it's a behind.
Ball clear.
They give Brian the Ange Christou every time he kicks the ball. Big woof.
He was stiff not to get a free kick there. I thought Shane Wakeland may have mauled him a bit.
The margin at three-quarter time was 42 points, and even though Collingwood have surged in this term, they've only managed to reduce it down to 34. Woden to Burns, who's had a very good last quarter.
2 metres, Simon! 2 metres! That'll do.
Very short metres. That's missed the target. Davies under pressure. Out in front of Clement. Well, Woden could have run to the space, but that's a beautiful kick from Clement.
She's a good kick.
That's super kick. Lockyer ran hard to provide a target. Buckley doing likewise. Got him.
Great ball movement from Magpies.
Travis Cloak, perhaps the target from here. Buckley decides to head longer. Now, Bentic's on his own there, but just at the back of the screen, Brodie Holland slipped and went to ground. He was his intended target. But as soon as he went to ground, he was out of the contest. Carazzo now has it.
I want to bring you Bentic's numbers in a moment as we work inside of the final minute of this match. Bentic, 16 kicks, 18 handballs, 34 possessions, of which 17 have been contested. 8 of them have been clearances, 7 marks as well. It has been one milestone red letter night, call it what you like, for the 20-year-old Adam Bentic. Scotland with the ball, attacking side of the wing. Time for one more perhaps for the Blues, and a 40-point win. Scotland pops it up. Can Lappin take a specky? Well, that's good enough. And now he can add his name to the goal-kicking cavalcade for the Blues tonight and make it a 40-point win. Nothing he loves more, the pint-sized Matthew Lappin, than climbing high for a mark. And by little man standards, that's a specky.
And how many goal kickers will this be?
13.
13 goal kickers. The West Coast had 14 on Friday night. So the ladder leaders, 14 goal kickers. This could be 13 for the Blues.
But he lets us all down. Come on, Matthew. You've kicked 3 behinds today. 7 ticks on the clock remaining, 19:15 to 14:10. Hope you've enjoyed it around Australia. Live and exclusive on Fox Footy tonight. As Clement drives it deep, we'll have time for this contest. And that might be all. Thornton the knock away. As it stands right now, Carlton are off the bottom of the ladder. Win number 4 for the year, and it was emphatic. 19-15, 129 to 14-10, 94. Nathan Buckley was superb for the Magpies, but didn't have much help.
And a number of the Carlton players a little bit reserved in their celebration, maybe because they got so many goals kicked against them in the last quarter, but maybe also because they knew they had the game won from midway through the third term. But take nothing away from their celebrations or their body language. They are going to be pretty happy campers when they get down into the rooms and sing the Blues song for the first time for, well, the second time in a long time.
They've won 2 games in 3 weeks,
Yeah.
and very good against Port last week. So they're finding something at the end. And a lot of talk about draft picks and where they finish, whatever. They've got 2 games to go. All they need to do is just continue that style of play.
And all of a sudden, the last game of the year where they play the Kangaroos becomes a little more important, because a few weeks ago, people would have chalked that up for the win. All of a sudden, the Blues against the Kangaroos in that last round is a big one for the Kangas.
And Essendon next week at the MCG, so they're still in with a chance to get one more.
Standing by to head down to the field for Tiff and the Peter McCallum Cup, which will stay with Carlton. 9-4 now. It's contested once a year in matches between these 2 clubs. Let's go down to Tiff.
Well, Kuda, that was a great win. The rivalries, they're always big games, and tonight didn't disappoint.
Yeah, look, it was important for us. We felt as though we've been playing better the last few weeks, and you know, last week was disappointing that we lost. But, you know, the boys are playing really well now. We're starting to get a bit of confidence among the team, and you know, we probably left it a bit late, but there's still a couple of weeks to go, and hopefully we can win the next 2.
Great effort all over the ground, but certainly dominating in the middle. That certainly helped tonight.
Yeah, our ruckman was great. Now, midfielders underneath were terrific too. Adam Bentley was great, Nick Stevens, and we just kept running all night, and that was important for us to play 4 good quarters.
You mentioned Benty, Simpson, another one, Byron kicking 2 goals in the last quarter. Really good signs for Carlton and a lot of the young guys stepping up.
Yeah, it is. Look, I mean, you know, we're waiting for the young guys to come up, and a lot of them have, and they're slowly getting better and better every week. And, you know, to the boys' credit, they're improving, and it makes life a lot easier for the older guys, and it's more enjoyable.
Right, well, you've kept the wooden spoon away from them, mate. Well done.
That's good. Thanks, Tiff.
Thanks, Tiff, with the Carlton skipper. On a night Blues fans will be celebrating. Kuda runs off 25 possessions alongside of his name. We'll take a break, come back and wrap it all up from the home of football. Carlton off the bottom, courtesy of a 35-point win, 19-15, 14-10, our final on Fox Footy.
Sorry, guys.